Alright, everything working now? I know I probably should have scheduled this, but I'm just gonna, see this as they come. Uh, First off, for anyone who's just getting here, sorry I missed the, stream yesterday. More updates actually came out since then. We're gonna get to those in a second. And already we have some people in the chat. Hello, Kenneth Hill. Miss Anthropony. Nope, you didn't miss anything. We're just about to start. Sorry again. I didn't schedule this ahead of time, so um, yeah, this is very off the cuff right now. Let me just get the chat up on the channel like I originally did. Get the. Oh, I forgot the. I forgot to turn that down. All right, 6 people are watching. There's another guy going over the not so awesome doc. Yeah, there are a lot of people. Um, like I've been keeping up with this for quite a bit now. Uh, don't know exactly when I'll stop. I do know that I have some like of my regular content coming interspersed just in between this, just to give ourselves like a breather. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Let me just fix my headset. Excuse me while I mute myself for a minute. There we go. A lot of people are starting to come into chat. Hello. By the way, for anyone joining in, I've recently stopped following Channel Awesome on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook after hearing their controversy since most corporations talk about money and power. Um, I mean, good on you for that. I'm not gonna say like if you, I'm not gonna like tell you to stop subscribing or whatever because of that, but it was because of the recent controversy and because of the Twitter statement, which didn't help things. Uh, yeah. Again, I don't blame you. We're actually going to be going through the fan stories uh, block this time of Google Documents. Fun fact: I originally planned this, um, and it was going to be just the 6-page document. Turns out the last time I checked it, it went up to 10 pages. Do you find it ironic that Doug planned to review the Woody Woodpecker movie a few weeks after IHE already had as mini review? I found it suspicious that he was catching onto this trend after Rebel Taxi did it, let alone IHE. Been watching their subs drop on the live counter, still going down and down. Yeah, it's quite a spectacle to see. Um, I didn't think like so many people would subscribe en masse right away. In all fairness, but you know that's just that's just how it is. I'm not gonna say it's not deserved, but it's definitely weird seeing this happen now of all times. Um, but yeah, so a few things to address before we get into reading the fan stories. We have another producer that just left the site. Again, don't harass him. Uh, his name was Matthew Buck, but you might know him as Film Brain, otherwise known as the creator of Bad Movie Beatdown and Projector on the site. He left. It was not due to McCod or anything like that. At least that's not what he's saying anyway. Um, but he has left Channel Awesome. The weird thing is his videos in that were still up for they were still up on the site and they still had a subform up for a good few hours, like a good day or two after it happened. But it's gone now. Uh, by the way, if you're wondering, I also did see Mars Girl's live stream highlight Uh, yeah, it was pretty much what I expected her to say. Um, she got really into it. She uh, she definitely addressed that, like, yeah, this has been going on for a while. You're not doing anything. Not apologies. The backlash on that has already been said for itself. Um, Content producers are still making videos on this as we speak. It's kind of strange just seeing this all happen and unfold. Even producers who don't usually make content on it, like Pie Guy Rules, who is I think he's a cartoon. Yeah, he's a cartoon reviewer. Mostly for stuff on like Nickelodeon Cartoon Network, and even he jumped on it because he had a lot to say about it as a fan. Um, it's it's such an anomaly to watch. Exactly. That's a problem with Doug. He's like CinemaSins, choosing movies based on their relevancy and how many views it'll get him instead of the actual material he can work off of. Well, I mean, there are exceptions to that rule, like the Gem movie that was just universally hated. And I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said, um, like he shouldn't be following trends in that because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. The issue that I take is that his content also appears to have like a lot of the same jokes and a lot of the same points that a lot of reviewers made. The points thing I can get, the joke part not so much. Um and the other thing too is that when he does it like really late after it's happened. I mean, there are some reviews that he did, like the Jungle Book movie, that would have been best served, coming out and like doing it in 2016, but that's also why he does sibling rivalry and the like Doug reviews thing where he just sees a movie and talks about it whenever Rob's not there. It's stuff like that. I hope Malcolm escaped while he can. At least AVGN is a good filmmaker, unlike Doug Walker, aka Nostalgia Critic, who doesn't know what plot holes are, makes movies based on his skill as a little kid. His jokes were underwhelming, predictable. Okay, I don't want to just make this like a Nostalgia Critic Doug Walker bitch session, at least not yet, because we're going to be hearing a lot of that from fan testimonies, whether it be from Doug, Rob, or McCod. Okay, someone clarify this for me in the chat. Is it McCod or Mashad? Because I've heard it both ways, and someone actually tried to correct me in the comment, and I wasn't sure if that's the right way to pronounce it or if that's the wrong way to pronounce it. Um, And as for the Malcolm bit, he's already made his piece on Twitter. Holly, the HR person, actually needed to clarify with him, like, no, there's like more to this. Some of the stuff, most of it, in fact, is happening like live as it happened. Yeah. More Erod memes in the chat. A rough week for Pie Guy and having to talk about the Dan Schneider controversy at Nick, and now this. Yeah, this week has been just overall shitty um for people's childhoods, for lack of a better term. First, there was the allegations against John Kay, then Dan Schneider, now this. Except this has also been building up since March 15th. So this has like an exponential growth to it. Um, oh, there was one other thing I wanted to bring up that I can't believe I almost forgot. This has also been starting to get picked up and get traction by the Daily Dot, which, for those of you who don't know, is a very large and popular mainstream news site. So, just you, the fans, and you like talking about it on Twitter, talking with Allison about it, talking with producers about it, that helps a lot more than you know. So when I say like I want to help like spread the info around, that's what I meant, because like this needs to be shown. This needs to have some sort of like change happen to it. Hence, change the channel. Um, and right now, it looks like Channel Awesome just wants to be stuck where it is, and that's not really helping anybody. Also, another creator update: Tony Goldmark and Uh, I can't remember his name right now, but he does Ask Lovecraft on the site. They also issue Twitter statements. Um, well, one issued a Twitter statement, Tony Goldmark, and the other one I think issued a YouTube video just talking about their controversy as it happened. Tony Goldmark, in particular, was very upset because he's now on the fence. He really, really doesn't want to do it, but at this point, they're not giving him a reason to stay. There's also the fact that there's also the fact that uh, he actually warned them beforehand to not post that Twitter statement, and they didn't listen. So now he's extra pissed, and um, it's just it keeps crumbling. Like so many people are even leaving, and also the live reading that I did 2 days ago. That's probably gonna have a part two added onto it because according to Mars Girl, lots more producers are gonna have stories written in there. By the time it gets through, that page is going to be like 80 pages. So that's 20 more pages we still need to look at and go through. How did you feel when you heard about the sexual harassment scandals at Channel Awesome? Uh, kind of hurt. Uh, tell that to Harvey Weinstein. Okay, again, the Weinstein thing and the Doug Walker, Mike Machad thing are two totally different things. Um, but Machad is, I don't know, they're varying degrees of shittiness. McCud is pronounced shitbag. Thank you, monkey. Still hope it doesn't sensationalize Rob and Doug too much for this. They are definitely liable for this, but I don't think it's comparable to a Penn State scope. I want change, but reasonable change. What do you mean by Penn State scope? Because Penn State has a lot of that's a whole other ballpark to this. Okay. We're gonna go on to it in one last second. I just want to address this last thing first, and I'm sorry I keep delaying this. Um, the walkers are not as bad as Mike in there, but they're on bad terms with me and bad terms with a lot of people for different reasons than Mashad. Mashad, um, he just was an all around like horrible human being. He was horrible to communicate with. He never listened. He constantly berated others on the site, constantly like talked down to other people. It was a mess through and through. The walkers at points didn't exactly help that in the past. Now granted, since the live stream before, I have heard from people like Holly and Malcolm as they've been talking on Twitter that the main Chicago crew that works in the studio has improved. These are issues that have started to be fixed. They're not completely fixed. Yeah, Malcolm hasn't experienced any harassment. Yeah, that's true. He hasn't because he okay, he joined earlier. Well, he joined uh really later when all this happened, but even around 2014 and during like the a talking cat review, Malcolm was still under employ. Like he did see this happen. So he's sort of half being true about it, but also half maybe not trying to acknowledge it. But that's what the revision is for on Twitter. I'll be back in a bit looking at other stuff. All right, see you, Miss Anthro. I'm probably gonna start like right now. Welcome, Nerdy John, to the stream. You just caught us. We're right about to start with the fan stories. And we're going to be doing that right now. Okay, so it already shows the disclaimer, but yeah, none of those submissions have been verified. These are all in alphabetical order. These are just popping up as they come along, and we're just going to read some of these and just do what we did last time and react to them. Um, and also, I wanted to thank you guys for two quick things. Thank you so much for like showing this video to people. Thank you for showing it to Lupa. Just don't go crazy with it. Don't go crazy with like spamming them with videos. They already know. They've already seen. They've already been keeping up with it. You don't need to do that, nor do you need to do that for like any of the other videos I've mentioned in the past. Just letting you know. And also, thank you so much for the subscribers that I've gotten in like the past few days. Like, holy shit. Um I originally planned a 100 subscriber video when that milestone actually happened, but now it's gotten to the point where there's a 200 subscriber special, so I'm just going to wait until it levels out because I do know a lot of you are just around for the channel awesome stuff that's happening, and I don't blame you for that, but just, know that after all this passes, I am going to try and, make normal content here and there, maybe still talk about it, and then once it completely dies down, just go back to the regular content. I do have some newer stuff coming up, so if you like what I did before, you want to check out the other stuff, that's completely up to you. But anywho, enough about that, and enough about my own channel. Let's see some of the not so great stuff that has been told about Channel Awesome over these past few witness accounts. They're down to, I just had it. They're down to 1,074,010. Wait, really? That many? They lost 1,000 that quickly? So minus 660 an hour currently. Ugh. I left to change the channel comment in the latest NC video. Good. I mean, I can't, I would thank you for doing that just on my own behalf. I know Holly has done the same on Doug Walker's Facebook thing. Just remember, don't get like way too spammy with it. Like, just keep it all under control. And you guys have been great about that so far. I'm sure you can fish for some shady stuff at cons at film panels. Yeah, I'm sure you could. Did you see Pat the NES Punk's podcast about CA? Yeah, a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. I stopped watching like about a month or two ago. I had enough. All right. Yeah, I could see that. I could see like the drop in content and the drop in basically everything after what's happened. All right, let's actually start. So our first account comes from someone in the name of Alan P. I remember meeting Doug and Rob outside at Anime Nebrascon 2015. They were alone and both on their phones. I had brought my Suburban Nights DVD for a Channel Awesome crew to sign and had a bunch of autographs on the case. I nervously went up to them to get them to sign and say hi. And at first, they didn't notice me because I was so shy and quiet. Wait, is this the one that I think it is? That I saw in the... Oh, crap. Was it the Channel Awesome forums or the Resetera forums? Let me read. Yeah, it is. I said hello a little louder, and Doug looked up while Rob was still texting. Doug smiled and asked what he could do for me. And I said, hi, I've been a fan since 2008. Can you guys sign my DVD? Doug said, sure. Signed it and handed it back. I asked Rob to sign it, and he looked up and said, what's up? I said, hi, big fan. Could you please sign my DVD? And he simply replied, no. Doug looked at Rob and said something like, oh, come on, man. And Rob literally looked at Doug and said, fuck off. Doug apologetically said to me, sorry, man, you should probably go now. My experience with Doug was fairly positive, but Rob was an asshat indeed. Never told that story online till now. Pretty disheartening. Also, fun fact is that Tony also confirmed on Twitter that, well, he didn't have anything bad to say about Doug as of currently, like just knowing him from the Sorcerer's Apprentice review. He did say Rob was a little standoffish, so this kind of, confirms that claim a bit. Next one is from Alex Heberling. Heberling? Alex Heberling? I'm going to go with Heberling. I used to draw fan art of the Channel Awesome gang. If you remember a big group picture of the producers as My Little Ponies, that was me. Hi. I ran into Doug a few times at cons and was in the first video of the short lived Artist Alley series. In my short segment, they misspelled my URL, which was just my name. It happens. When I saw the mistake, I groaned, but sent a message through the website contact form letting them know, not necessarily expecting anything, but later that day, they added a corrected, clickable text link to me under the video. Which confuses me now, or what confuses me now, is why they bothered to do that for me, a nobody who is in 10 seconds of a side series and not their, producers. Fair enough. I'm going to chalk that up to uh, either Greg or Mike, whoever is in charge of that. I'm gonna assume Mike because I don't know that much about Greg to actually confirm that for a fact, and Mike I can only really make an educated guess on based on what I've seen. But yeah, that's a little weird for sure. Back, hope I didn't miss too much. You didn't. The LMP one that we just started on was from the Resetera forums. So Resetera are channel awesome forums, so you're good. I wanted to do a channel awesome video, but I decided not to because I don't want to be associated with YouTube drama. That's fair. This was just more personal to me, so I kind of just I wanted to make it involved out there. Plus, I was already following along at the beginning on Allison's Twitter, and I was already enveloped from like day one of when it happened. So so not an excuse, but what if McCall and Rob Walker are on the spectrum? That shouldn't matter. I mean, I'm on the spectrum, and I've ranted and said some like kind of stupid shit online, but that's the extent of it. I've never like actually been horrible to people who are either fans of me, who I've talked to, um, or really anything like that. I try to keep like actual discussions with real people to like an actual discussion. Um, Reddit is probably the only exception to that, but that's also because Reddit isn't exactly the, you know, best place for really clarified discussion. The fact that Channel Awesome is still uploading videos and not even acknowledging the issue is completely horrid. Uh, yeah. I mean, that's what they've been doing, and it's what they continue to do on Twitter, so it makes sense. Yeah, exactly what Witty Banter said. Definitely not an excuse. You can be on the spectrum and still know how to have human decency. Hi, YouTube Convoy. Welcome to the stream. We just started on the fan stories document. All right. Let's see what else was there. Oh, I never finished on Nerdy John's comment. Plus I would just be repeating what other people say. Yeah. That's why I kind of did the document reading when I did because that was not being as talked about, and then like because I read that as soon as it came out, like pretty much as soon as it came out. I had to like go through class on that, but after all that, I you know went through it, read it, and then pretty soon like other people followed suit. So I kind of just did that when I could. No one's really read the fan stories yet, and this is the one I've actually been most curious on because this is coming from fans' perspectives, and I can relate to this a lot more. Being a former fan of Channel Awesome, and mainly the nostalgia critic as a whole. Give them a bit more time and give them a bit more in-depth look might be too soon. Here's the thing, Witty. I would say it's a bit too soon, but you have to realize this has been going on since March 15th and has only continued to grow, and it reached its peak at around March 30th to April 2nd. That's when it started like really escalating, and when they did say something, it was to an educated guess to the whoever made that, either Greg or Mike, just according to what Tony said. Um, they didn't really do anything. Again, I can understand. Again, Doug wanting to stay out of it, but that's also not helping the whole complacency argument. If anything, all that's they're doing with this is reinforcing what's been said already. All right, let's continue. Next one is Baggage Lizard. I went to MomoCon in May 2015. Coincidentally, Doug Walker was going to be there. I was concerned about the lack of information concerning Pop Quiz Hotshot, so I made it a point to ask Doug if I saw him. I did not back the Indiegogo, but I was concerned about the lack of information coming from Channel Awesome and figured that I could at least try. The night before the con started, they had opened up the door that had many video games to play. I decided to check it out. After some time, I noticed some commotion coming from the entrance. It was Doug Walker being led around by some convention staff. As he was strangely marveling some DDR pads on the floor, I nervously tried to get his attention. It wasn't nervous out of fandom. I'd not been supportive of their practices for 2 years or so at that point. Um, so remember, this was before. It was 2 years prior to when they were doing the Indiegogo for Pop Quiz Hotshot. Just putting that out there. Uh, but sometimes you're just nervous. I introduced myself to him while he stared at me with glassy eyes and smiled in a way that felt both empty and sincere. I then asked him what I was I then asked him what I was there to ask him about. Pop Quiz Hotshot. The pilot had been aired on March 31st of that year, and calling it a disaster could be considered an understatement. I asked him when the next episode was going to come out. "Oh, Mr. Walker, I'd like to ask you about the game show." He didn't really understand. I had to ask again, much more specifically about Pop Quiz Hotshot, that it may have not been received all that well and what they were going to do about it. He thought for a second, then told me with a bold, calming tone that they had received the fan feedback and decided to retool the show. Filming was set to begin in mid June. There was no sense of apology or sincerity in his voice. I thanked him and decided to hand him a Hagen dollar, a gag prize he handed out at a convention last year. My brother had won some, and he went to the panel, and so I found the absurdity of giving Doug the dollar too great, and I did so. He seemed genuinely thankful for that present and walked and hobbled away. I'm sure Doug doesn't want to get too much into the problem, but he needs to know the Streisand effect will happen. Yeah, that's my problem. He'll be like guilty by association at like the very least is what my outcome is like. Well, guilty of associations or guilty of association and also guilty of not acknowledging their own past wrongdoings. I didn't notice any sexual assault in Channel Awesome. Can you give me an example? Well, you're not going to find it in a video. They don't film sexual assault. You need to read through like the document. Uh there's an instance in I think Mars Girls section. Somewhere in there there were definitely some with a lot of the female producers. Those should be easy to pick out. And I think one other instance with Linkara when they were and when they were bringing up the original To Boldly Flee script, which had implied rape in it, which uh, the two people who were supposed to be in that scene were not comfortable with doing. Does anyone remember the Gatorade incident? I actually don't know what the Gatorade incident is. I know what the whole like I know what the I think it was like the Cinnabon incident at a convention was where like there someone had won like a giant dragon dildo and like squirted it on like a Cinnabon, and it was just left on the table, um, and then Doug like found it as he was entering the room because his panel was next, and he's like, "Oh, cool, free Cinnabon," and just ate it. Um, it kind of reminded me of when uh Aaron and Dan like had their Game Grumps panel, and then they had a box of Cheez-Its that was there from the previous. I think it was the Normal Boots panel, and everyone just was just screaming, "Those are John's Cheez-Its!" Except this is a lot more grotesque. Someone was taped to the so it has to do with the whole duct tape to the wall thing. So instead of actually taking them to a hospital for when they fainted, they just gave them Gatorade. Ouch. Like that doesn't help. I just yeah, I remember the whole fainting on the set. That's I I mean this doesn't surprise me really. This shouldn't surprise me, but it does. All right. The next one is wait, did we get through all of that? Yeah, we got through all of the baggage lizards one. Brent, I was once asked to leave one of Doug's panels because he was filming the audience for a segment in a review. I was told I wasn't being animated enough and I looked out of place. I didn't understand what that meant, but they asked a cosplayer from the hall outside to be a seat filler as I was escorted to the back wall. The next one is from BW. Rob Walker permabanned me from the Channel Awesome forums and deleted my Channel Awesome, formerly that guy with the glasses account, on the main page so that all my blogs were lost as well and I could no longer comment. This in itself is not the problem. He had the authority to do it, but the part that hurts was this was all after he told me I was only getting a temporary ban of a week in order to calm down after a particularly heated discussion in the off topic section of the forums. Worse still, I had to learn this the hard way after I'd cooled off. To be fair to Rob, the temp ban was justified when I tried to log back in. If he just told me straight up, I'd still be disappointed, but at least I wouldn't have felt insulted on top of that. Like I said, I own the fact that the temp ban was my own fault, but what came after, that's all on Rob. Eric D. bought the Channel Awesome Premium membership. Apologies in advance for doing that, man. I'm so sorry. Because I wanted to have easy access to Nostalgia Critic videos and the like, and wanted to support the site. First, new content would appear a few weeks after it was on the site, then things just plain stopped updating altogether. After a few weeks, I sent an email expressing my dissatisfaction and requesting a refund. The response I got basically amounted to, well, you should have said something earlier, suck it. I can't find the email anymore, but I'm reasonably sure that was Mike Machad's words, which doesn't surprise me at all with everything coming out. I pretty much quit visiting the website after that. Hi, back, had to move the phone, rep. Hi, Lizzie Robinson, welcome to the stream. Or welcome back, I should say. I wonder what Doug's friends are thinking when they appear in a video. Well, I know Obscura Slupa had her whole thing in the Google document where, she outlined her experiences on the A Talking Cat review. But whatever. Mashad being a dickhead? The devil you say. Or the devil you say. Yeah. Oh no, Mashad is being a dickhead. Why? Of all the things, this can't be true. He's such a nice guy. All right, Miss Anthroponi. Again, it's fine. Like you don't have to tune into the stream. I'm glad you at least showed up right now so that you could see what was happening. Don't worry about it. Really, it's all cool. Go do what you need to do, and then just do that. You could probably look up Tony's Gomark's latest Twitter comment to see how he feels. We actually did talk about that earlier, but I might check in on Twitter and just do that and check that out just for context. My own Twitter has actually those retweeted, so it shouldn't be too hard to actually find. Rashad being a dickhead, say it ain't so, Swizzly Bubbles. Say it ain't so. Oh no, no, everyone, no, this can't be true. All right, let's keep going. Uh, this next one is from Greg, just Greg. Uh, all right, yeah, the original one was just the premium membership one. Just double checking. I don't want to miss anyone. I used to have a lot of respect for Doug and Rob. We are from the same area, and Doug went to my school and still does speeches there. Then To Boldly Flee came out. I was so embarrassed for everyone involved in this obvious idiocy. Then I listened to Valen, Allison, and Brad's commentary, which sounded like they had no good things to say about the production process or the end result, frankly. This operation has been shoddily run from day one, and its response to constructive criticism has been abysmal. I'm still grateful to Channel Awesome for introducing me to many great content producers, all of whom I will still happily follow independently on their channels. Also, apologies for background noise that's from people outside of my dorm. Um, you shouldn't the mic shouldn't be able to pick it up, but just letting you know in advance, they get pretty loud. What bums me is that the people I at one time would have. All right, let me, because a lot of these are really weirdly phrased, not wordly phrased. What bums me is that the people I at one time would have thanked for creating the site that introduced me to so many new things and ideas are now people who slightly repulse me, if I'm being blunt. Doug, I used to think quite a lot of you, and that has changed the channel. Um, IDHE used to run a small fan blog, some of the stuff including criticisms of the producers, but only ever in a factual way. Got sent messages slash emails from three producers who often work together because of their close proximity. These ranged from insults to death threats to the threat of doxing and permabanning from the site. I closed down my blog and left the fandom pretty much after that. Jerry R. So I think it is. No, it's not. It's not the guy who called for it's not the guy who called from uh about Doug at the dentist. I worked at a college radio station and I interviewed Linkara, Cinema Snob in studio and via phone, Benzai, and Rob and Doug Walker. The interviews would work with me contacting the interviewee via social media and I would ask for the Skype address. Then via Skype, I would send the number to call the interview phone. Skype was used Skype was in case phone lines went down, but Wi Fi didn't. In any case, I interviewed Rob, and the interview went rather well. A few months later, I sent an interview request for Doug via the form on the site and got no answer for 6 months. I remember I have Rob's Skype, so I asked what's going on with my request, and I am immediately asked if I'm a new producer on the site. Wait, no, yep, this is actually the same. This is actually the same guy. He was on Twitter and talked about this earlier. This is just him going more in depth into it. I'm added to a group. I'm added to a chat group before I can even answer. I say that I'm not, and I'm an interviewer for a college radio. And I'm pretty sure he was embarrassed because the next day I get an email to set up an interview with Doug. I had to remove myself from the chat group. I do the interview with Doug, and I hear nothing but wind in the background. I ask before we record what's that noise, and he says, I'm on my way home from a dental appointment. The whole thing struck me as bizarre even back then. Flash forward to when Channel Awesome is looking for new talent, my co host and I try out, but never hear anything back. A year ago, I ran into the Channel Awesome crew at a convention. Tamara and Malcolm were extremely nice. I talked with Doug, who just wanted to get away from me, and when I mentioned I interviewed, he goes, Yeah, I remember you. Followed by, You were at the college with the Cardinals, which isn't anywhere close to my college. When I mentioned that I have Asperger's syndrome, Doug clammed up after that. I am grateful that producers let me interview them, and honestly, a producer is the reason why I review and interview in a video format instead of audio. Next one is from Jim. Just Jim. I was the. It was one thing, and the thing only that tipped me off at Chin Awesome's true self, even though I didn't stop watching for who knows why. The autism line from Doug's Ernest Saves Christmas review. I myself have autism. It's not something I'm always proud of. Admittedly, at times I used to think of myself to be inferior to everyone else because sometimes I forget things easily. Sometimes my speech will be mucked up a bit. I can relate, Jim. Um, but anyway, if I ever meet Doug, I will tell him exactly what I think of that moment, purely disrespectful. Um, so yeah, like for some of these are, I mean, they're all justified. Don't get me wrong. I'm just noticing a lot of them are more, minor nitpicks, at least at the top. And Jim's, I think, was actually addressed in the top 10 nostalgia critic fuck ups part 2. I want to say is number 1. So he did acknowledge that that was purely a fuck up on his end. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's he can like change a review at this point because it's been around for so long that people just wonder what happened. Or he could have changed it. I haven't watched that video in a long time. Baggage Lizard, I probably shouldn't have submitted that story, but I did, so whatever, my own fault. No, don't, no, really, don't feel like it was your own fault. Like, all these, like, little incidents here and there, I said that a lot of them are pretty minor, but they're still valid. Like, they should still be heard. I'm not, like, saying that you shouldn't do this or whatever. Every little grievance is fine. It's just, I'm just noticing a few of these here and there are just a little minor in comparison to, like, other ones. But like because I know we'll get to some of those eventually. They're kind of like actually hard to read, but yeah, it's fine. Still confusing that he said he knew the joke wouldn't be funny but wanted to tell it anyway. Yeah, it is a little bit, but yeah, it's fine. I understand where he was going, but whatever. Dick move. Hey, all right, be nice. But it was still insulting to autistic people like Temple. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying like even with Temple Grandin and all that, he did acknowledge it was actually like not a good thing to say. Same thing with like the Mako smoking a pack of cigarettes thing and all of those. These are stuff that he has previously addressed. It still doesn't make it right, and it still doesn't uh, make it okay that those are like still in the reviews. Like, but he at least knows he fucked up. All right, that's all I'm gonna say on the matter. Let's continue. Oh wow, this is a particularly long one from Jimmy DeFreak. Found that guy with the glasses after a crossover Nostalgia Critic did with AVGN. So like the videos leading up to the brawl. Uh, Wanted so badly to become a part of the site that I bought a camera and started making videos in 2010. I was a forum reg. I cannot speak today. Um, I was a forum regulator, and in the fall, I donated over $500 to the charity stream, which included a phone call from the team. Wow, dude, well, I feel bad now. I'm just reading a bit past this. Um, you obviously had a lot of respect for them and all that, but yeah, let's continue because I don't want to like jump to any conclusions yet. Because I was at work in oil rig camp in a low to no signal remote area and had specifically told them to call my friend's number as a late birthday present to them, they called my number instead. When it went to voicemail, they booed and Angry Joe flipped off the camera. After I failed to receive a tax receipt or other rewards for my tier, I contacted Channel Awesome by email. I also asked if we were going to receive tax receipts or if the lump sum was donated in their name, which would be shady, but totally a reason a company would do a charity drive since they'd get the financial credit. This was my first experience with Mike Machad. His reply included telling me that they gave me everything they were supposed to, but nothing had been redeemed. On top of that, he said that my website had been linked on the sidebar for months. It never was verifiable by Web Time Machine, and to stop saying fake things. He also asked me for a shipping address so they could send something special to me. Like a fool, I did. The special thing? He put me on some mailing lists for Chicago based events and charities. I live in Canada. That's 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 horrible. So he just sends the mailing receipts. But yeah, all right. Moving on. I had some great experiences with certain content creators while I built my brand on Blip. I met good friends and fellow critics there. Lotus Prince helped me once when I started the Change.org petition to Blip when they began kicking users, and ultimately we saved people around 15 months before Blip did what they always were going to do anyway, and even honored with the and was even honored with credit in a couple videos, namely Game Hero Adults Only and one of Drew Wario's reviews after lending him Pepsi Man to review. He was the nicest person, right down to giving me advice on how to better my product. I hate to this day I never got to work with him. Fast forward to my other shit awful experience with Channel Awesome. I had already been watching less and less, though I actually like Demo Reel, but when Pop Quiz Hotshot came out, I asked in the forums if this felt like it was supposed to fail. These guys clearly knew how to edit, they knew how to use microphones. Yet BJ was holding a shotgun mic while wearing a lav, and the audio mixing was horrid. The cuts were sloppy, all of a sudden they couldn't do jump cuts. My theory, they released Pop Quiz Hotshot that badly because then people would not want more episodes of it, so they could stop. In other words, self-sabotage. I wasn't as accusatory in the forums, but I did receive a lifetime ban as well as an IP from the website itself. Over 5 years in the forum as a blogger and contributor wiped out. With the IP ban, I couldn't even try to appeal or ask for forgiveness, though at this point, I learned they don't have sympathy unless that sympathy comes with a paycheck. Damn, dude. Jesus. That one was particularly horrible. Yeah. Mike wish I was even more of a douche than I first realized, and that's on top of hearing all of the stuff from the actual producers. To be fair, I think everyone, fan producer slash former Channel Awesome creator, is extremely brave for coming out with these stories. Thanks to them, I'm subscribed from CA since I don't want to support the channel. Yes, if you, again, I'm going to say this right now, no matter how minor, if you have a story to tell about Channel Awesome, because trust me, I've seen them pop up in the live streams here, just being like 100 whatever channel. If you have any like story that you've wanted to tell about Channel Awesome, but you think, oh well, I'm not a content producer, so I don't really know what to say. No, edit in this document right now and tell them your story. No matter how minor it may be, no matter how whatever it may seem, if it's like bad and it's involving Channel Awesome and it's part of a problem that needs to be fixed, or just any of those three things, tell them. Like tell them immediately. Let them know and put in the Google document. Fun fact, Channel Awesome's website is based on a $75 theme forest theme called Jarida. $100 actually. that's the weird thing. And he also wanted to this is from the document reading from earlier, which is again is going to have timestamps because I know a lot of you have been asking about that. It's just taking a while. He actually wanted to take out a $50,000 thing to have people from the White House make the website. He ultimately decided against it because they don't have $50,000. They're not good with money, but yeah. I think it was only $50 when they bought it, despite claiming they were working on it for like 5 years. No, it was actually $100 when they bought it. Or it could have gone up since then, but yeah, from what I've heard, from what's been told in the extensive document, I think on Mars Girl section. Yeah, in Mars Girl section. I think. I shouldn't probably say that with fact because I don't honestly remember. They cited $100. Yep, the White House thing. Alright. What's next on there? Next one is John. Was a big fan of Channel Awesome in its heyday, back when it was that guy with the glasses. I'd watch many of their videos, participate in their forums, etc. Through Channel Awesome, I also became a fan of composer and content creator Brent Black, or Brentalfloss. Actually, no Brentalfloss. He also did video. He actually did a music video for a smaller content producer. Was it Fighting Leaf or was it Bob Show? No, Bob Show had his own theme. I think it was Fighting Leaf. I have actually heard his music, and I think that was actually before Brentalfloss got some notoriety. A frequent contributor to both Doug Walker, Nostalgia Critic, and Paul Schuler, Paw Dugan, who, yeah, also, Paw's music reviews are pretty good. Check him out. He definitely has an ear for music. The latter of which was also his roommate for some time. So I was extremely disturbed to learn that a close friend of mine had been sexually groomed by Brent while she was a preteen girl. Oh. Ew. Oh, crap. He encouraged her to chat on cam while nude and later attempted to arrange an in person meetup with her. This happened shortly before Brent got his big internet fame break through Channel Awesome, and it has since gnawed at me. Both the question of how many more girls might have been abused by Brent since he now has a fandom, and how much Channel Awesome might have known about his behavior. These relevant revelations about Channel Awesome mismanagement and abuse have been extremely discouraging to me as the culture of Channel Awesome seems to fit perfectly with Brent's participation in it. I think it would be worth poking around and looking for more of potential Brent victims. Okay, so I guess we're gonna add child porn to the list of horrible things. Um, well, no, child grooming rather. With child porn being like the new Skype calls. I can't believe that. Yeah, this is what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting this in particular. I didn't think it would get this bad, but just Jesus Christ. Brent is Brentofloss. Oh no. Again, I didn't. I'm glad now. I'm glad I didn't say anything about what I thought of Brentofloss and only knew he did work with, um, Fighting Leaf and that before he got his big break, because otherwise that would have been really awkward. And I know nothing about Brent. This is news to me. This is why we do these live readings, because then stuff like this comes to light. So yeah, someone try and figure out more of what's happening with that. Like, please, because this is kind of serious if true. Next. Brenda Frost was in the reviews of Moulin Rouge and Les Miserables. Oh, crap, that was him? Oh, no. Hi, Wendy. We're doing good. We just learned that Brento Floss might be a pedophile. He didn't have child porn per se. What he had was a girl, calling him on Skype while she was nude and attempted, an in-person meetup with her. Possibly to fuck her. Bad touch. He hasn't posted anything on his Twitter. Let's move on because I'm sure this is gonna get a lot worse now. We're on page 4. We're not even halfway through the document. Wonderful. Was that who Jane Doe was talking about? I don't know. Go Mark is still on the site, it seems. Yes, he's one of the ones on the fence as well as Lovecraft. All right, moving on. I made this one comes from Jordan, who knows about them apparently through Facebook. I made friends with one of the producers currently on Channel Awesome on Facebook. He goes by the name Some Jerk with a Camera, and at first I liked his content and his crossover with other past Channel Awesome content creators. Example, Count Jacula and Horror Guru Owan Citizen. Oh, goody! As soon as I mention his name, now we got more dirt on this. But around last year, or the end of 2016, he started to post bizarre posts, and they even sounded like threats. And when I jumped into the conversation, he then got upset at me to the point I was very uncomfortable talking to him on Facebook. Then, around the beginning of last year, he had posted another message that slandered another YouTube content creator that I enjoy, and so I tried to clear the air and show he was wrong. I was having none of that as soon as I showed he was wrong on his post, and some of his other friends or followers began to harass me so much, and when I tried to speak my case, nothing worked, and he just became more and more angry at me to the point where even people who had not commented on the post then began harassing me over my message. After that incident, I deleted my comment on the post because I could not take it and unfriend him and stop following him on YouTube as well. I then found out from a fellow content creator from another site he was on before, Channel Awesome, and who is a good friend of mine, shared with me a thread from several years ago that showed this was not the first time he had gone on something random and responded harshly to both fellow content creators and fans. After that came to light, I can no longer support him at all and am still surprised he is still on the site. That's my bad experience with someone at Channel Awesome, so there you go. Aw man, don't make me choose between Fred and Hudson in your stream. Why not both? Why not keep us open in both tabs? I mean, if you want to, I would say go with Fred because um yeah, he's covering some like he covered like spoony stuff and I recommend you check out that video. But yeah, Brental flosses of pedo. Apparently, according to the fan account from who was it again? John. He tried to sexually groom a minor and actually succeeded in trying to encourage her. Uh, I don't know if she succeeded. He encouraged her to chat on cam while nude, and later tried to attempt an in-person meetup. It saddens me that all this is now starting to come to light, especially considering recent events in another community that also had a um, child groomer, a pedophile, and actually did succeed in sexually assaulting other girls. And now I see that that was not just part of that community. No, this is just a constant problem for content creators. Fun, fun, super fun. Miss Anthropony, I know you had to leave for something, but yeah, we got more. We got more shit right here. You might want to look at. Whatever. Let's keep going. This next one is from KR. I'll get back to chat in a second because I know people are asking questions. Actually, no. I just subscribed to Brenna Floss a week ago. Now, what am I going to do? Well, keep in mind also that these aren't verified just yet, so we don't know for sure if this is true. If it is, I would highly suggest maybe unsubscribing. I mean, you do you if you want to do the whole art separated from artist thing, but I personally would not stay subscribed. That's just me. Why didn't they fire him over this when they fired Spoonie over something similar? Sure, he made no rape jokes, but he seems to have unleashed on and harassed fans multiple times. I don't know. I really don't. All right, let's keep going. KR, Channel Awesome representatives attended a convention around 2015, and there was a panel I attended where it was Rob, Doug, and Malcolm just talking about this and that. During the Q&A portion, I was called on and I was asked approximately what is the strangest adaptation of a property into a Saturday morning cartoon. I believe only Doug and Rob gave answers, not really important what they were. A few weeks down the road, and I saw a short-lived Nostalgia Critic segment called "Was That Real?" and which was essentially a series based on my question. I refuse to believe that this was a coincidence, and it would have really been nice to get an acknowledgement of the inspiration. After seeing Allison's notion that Doug doesn't appreciate that you can be funny without references slash ripping someone else off, I'm not surprised anymore. I found other Channel Awesome folks to not be particularly pleasant, but I now realize this was about the tipping point for many of them, so I'm not irritated about any of it anymore. I was for a second, though. I'm still going to follow Tony myself, even after that story. Are you referring to me? No, T Scream is referring to Tony Goldmark of Some Jerk with a Camera. And it's not like Jerk ever had the following Spoonie did. That's probably also why, because Jerk doesn't have a large following and he's one of the lesser content producers on the site. Again, these are all, as far as we're concerned, they're all allegations, none of which have been confirmed yet. But these go into extensive detail about their times in there, and these can be proven by just trying to look up a Google search or trying to like use the Wayback Machine or anything like that. So it's not like they're going into these with like no way to find evidence. A few are, but there I think those can also be proven as well. Who's the other online community with a pedophile? That would be Toon Critic Y2K of the My Little Pony Brony analysis community, who was found to be sexually harassing multiple girls into erotic role playing, sexual assault of a minor, child grooming, several accounts of child grooming, uh, and just so much more. And they were all proven true, by the way. Those were like they actually had several Skype logs and screenshots proving this, like 500 plus. And he didn't deny any of it. Toon Critic actually owned up to it. Yeah, Toon moved to Sonic though. Since then, I don't know if he's been convicted or not. They did say they were going to go to the police about it. No, it's no one you follow, Wendy. All right, next one is Ellen. This is another long one. How long does that? Okay, this goes on for like the entire page. Ugh. All right. I first stumbled across that guy with the glasses back in 2010. That's a strangely recurring date. When I had issues with losing my job and some resultant depression. This is about the time that Kickassia was being made, which is what really caught my attention, and I thought it was hysterical. The whole site cheered me up considerably. I was primarily a fan of the critic and the chick and Linkara to a lesser extent. I participated in forum threads, not very memorably, since I have no concrete memories of my own posts, but I remember enjoying the experience. I was excited when they announced that the site was splitting up into the different segments because I really wanted to participate, but I'm not keen on making videos. When I found out Blister Thumbs was becoming a thing, it seemed like the post of PC Games Editor would be perfect for me because it involved computer games and writing, two things I love, so I applied. I joined the new site and was made a forum mod shortly thereafter. So I did have some interactions with Angry Joe. A lot of this is fuzzy, but I do remember there being some small issue with my reluctance to use Skype. I didn't know anything about it at the time, except that it was a video chat thing and I wasn't comfortable with it. Being a forum mod was fun, as I was the only female moderator, and I felt like we needed that representation. Rolo T was always very nice to me, and I liked the other mods. Joe kept telling us that he was responding to people's applications, and that if we hadn't gotten a formal rejection, that meant we were still in the running. I was starting to wonder if I was ever going to hear about mine, but he didn't. But he wouldn't so much as confirm for me that they had received it. In hindsight, he may have been gagged by management, but that never occurred to me at the time. And then the site went down. As we all know, it never came back. I eventually gave up checking, and I kind of drifted away from that guy with the glasses as a whole. I had a new job by then. I was moving, and I had other things going on. I missed the Blistered Thumbs crew a little, but I mostly was annoyed because I had never gotten an acknowledgement of my application or of my tenure as moderator. Even a rejection would have been something. While I was away from the site, meanwhile, that guy with the glasses transitioned into Channel Awesome and the critic was retired. I never saw or heard anything about Demo Reel. I don't even remember how I got back into the whole thing to discover the changes. By the time I did, the critic had returned. I stopped visiting the Channel Awesome website completely after only a few visits because it brought back a lot of bittersweet memories of what Blister Thumbs was supposed to become and how those of us who were involved in a non-producer manner were set adrift with no further contact. Where we at? We're at Ellen's post on here. We're at the end of page 5. We're about halfway through the document. One step closer to Chris Chan. Chris is now Christina. All right. Where are we at? No further contact. Okay. I met Linkara at a con after having interacted with him a few times on Tumblr. He had never struck me as especially warm on Tumblr, which I attributed to the text medium, but at the con he was the same. In particular, he had to stop playing Pokemon to get his picture taken with me, and he gave me the impression that he didn't appreciate it. It stung, especially since I mostly went to the con in question so that I could meet him. I stopped watching him and following him on Tumblr after that. I also met Doug at a con, and I must give him this credit. He was very amiable. I liked him a lot, so it's very disheartening to read how much he is allowed to happen. Even before all this went down, I had been limiting myself to occasional viewings of Critic stuff on YouTube. It's usually been his older stuff that I watch in the first 2 anniversary crossovers. I even have the Kickassia DVD. Now it's hard to look at any of it. Everything that's gone down in recent weeks makes me feel like I dodged a bullet by never getting the chance to really participate. I hope that each of you who have left the site land someplace better than or land someplace better, and I wish you all the best. I'm sorry this has gone on for so long, but I guess I had a lot to say. Thanks for letting me say it. How bad? Yeah, pretty much what Monkey said. Oh no, the other stream is getting to the part about the fake Screw Attack rivalry. Which other stream are you actually talking about? Um, so I could see, like, are they also doing a live reading of the text thing as I was doing? I mean, it's fine if they do. I'm just wondering who it is because you're saying the other stream. I was just curious. I once tried to request a joke on his ABC Goes to Disneyland video before he posted it in 2014, and he yelled at me. Um, okay, for those of you who are just tuning in, we have like basically what where is it? Monkey One Z is saying. Brendel Floss is a pedophile. Rob's a dick. Doug is soulless. The usual. In particular, Brental Floss tried to get an underage girl to get nude on camera for him during what I assume is a Skype call. I don't know if he succeeded in that, and then also attempted to uh, arrange an in-person meetup with her. And we have no idea if there are any other potential victims, and this is something someone urged they look into. Oh, Down the Rabbit Hole is streaming. Frederick Crudson. I at least I hope that's him from Down the Rabbit Hole. I know it's based off his real name, but yeah. What the fuck? Gross. That man should be put on some sex offender list. Well, again, we don't know any of this for fact yet. These are fan allegations, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were true. But for right now, we're just going on the word of people. Whatever. Point is, we're just gonna go through all of these because each deserve their own amount of attention. Some of these are a lot more egregious than others, granted, but yeah, everyone deserves to have a piece in this. Okay, it is. All right. I'll have to check that out because this stream is gonna be fairly short. I had no idea how deep the Jew Wario hole went. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Especially on Mashad's front. Lizzie, I suppose this doesn't matter much in the grand scheme of what gone down, but in my one interaction with Robbie was a complete and total dick to me. All I did was agree with something he said about RT on his Facebook page, and he responded to me saying I was lazy and shouldn't comment if I didn't have anything new to add to the conversation. I do remember that actually. Both the someone who brought it up in the chat and both when that actually happened, so I can vouch for them on that. Yeah, what First Last said about the Brental Floss stuff. Lucky, I guess. I, like many others, submitted a video when they were looking for new talent. I never got a reply back. I didn't even get a rejection. At first, I just figured that with so many submissions, it made sense if some of them fell through the cracks, especially since my video is on the longer side. With all this new information, though, I'm beginning to suspect that if you didn't have a big subscriber count, they wouldn't even bother with you. This is especially annoying since they dissuaded people from using more simplistic editing methods. The only direct interaction I've had is with Lindsay Ellis, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad experience. When she quit Channel Awesome, I sent her a message. Also, sorry, I hit my mic for a second. I sent her a message on Tumblr saying that she inspired me to become a reviewer. She sent me a few short messages telling me that it's probably not the best idea to pursue that path. No, I don't have the message anymore after deleting my Tumblr. Back then, I thought that was kind of rude. Now, I realize how terrible the situation must have been if she truly felt the need to warn some rando about it being a bad idea. She could have easily sent a copy paste, thank you for the kind message type thing, but no, she answered in a way that not only confirmed that she read what I wrote, but thought her experience was bad enough to warn me. Next one is from Nicholas. I discovered the channel awesome, or discovered the Nostalgia Critic. Big mind fart there. In 2011 and followed him for a few years. He was an inspiration, and he and the other producers on the site awakened my desire to review stuff. In 2014, I had heard that Doug was coming to a convention a few hours away from where I live. There had been stories before of issues happening in the anniversary specials, but nothing too major. Then the story with Allison and Phelan happened in January 2015, maybe a week at most before that convention. I met Doug Walker, but that guy with the glasses, Volume 4, he signed it. Now I'm stuck with it. I remember him riffing about the Super Mario Brothers movie shown on YouTube. Later in the convention, I saw him again and had time to chat more, and brought up the leaving of Allison and Phelan and how it had us fans worried about the site. He told me not to worry about it, he'd address it. Convention ends, I go home, get on Facebook, and find out that I, along with most others who tried to talk to him about the issue, got blocked from posting to his Facebook page. At the time, I took it as the shattering of the pedestal I had put him on. I kept watching the Nostalgia Critic till the review of Pixels. Oh yeah, I hated the clipless reviews, then dropped. And here we are 3 years later with an entire history of bullcrap coming out and many producers leaving. And I'm glad to see so many people leaving that dumpster fire of a website. Uh, the next one is from Rich, Raider Rich 2001. I compiled my history of Channel Awesome in a Twitter moment. Oh man, you're gonna make me click on the link here. No, I'm just fooling with you. I'll click the link if it clicks there. Okay, here we go. Raider Rich, one fan's history of Channel Awesome, with Obscurus, Lupa, and other Channel Awesome producers sharing their stories about Channel Awesome did them wrong. I, Raider Rich 2001, thought I'd share my story as a fan of the site. We got a long one here. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so we had to move over to Twitter. Let's see what happens. Responded to Allison. This is way back in March 20th, so we made the moment just to better compile it. I was on a stream earlier which counted how many people were unsubscribing. Slowly but surely, it has been a slow decline. Yeah, it certainly has been. And I know you're responding to Wendy. I'm just saying it's if you want to like see just how many people I've heard, it's apparently according to someone in the chat, it was 660 people were subscribing every hour or so, which that builds up, that exponentially builds up, especially as more details come out. All right, been seeing a lot of this thread from Obscurus Lupa about Channel Awesome, and it brought back a lot of memories. Here's my fans' perspective on Channel Awesome's rise and eventual fall. Around 2007, wow, so this is way old. I stumbled across a review of Final Fantasy VIII by the Spoony One, and subsequently found myself in the Spoony Experiment community, particularly its RP section led by Dan the Adequate, and its wrestling community. Oh no. Is this gonna go into a lot of Spoony stuff? Looks like it's gonna involve a few other people. About a year and a half later, this video appears on Spoony's site called The Epic Brawl. Yeah, it looks like shit, but for 2009, this was epic YouTube. Yeah, this is the anniversary brawl that they did. Which, yeah, if you know Channel Awesome, you've probably already seen it by now. Needless to say, the video exposed me to Channel Awesome, Nostalgia Critic, Linkara, Angry Joe, Mars Girls. The site expanded to include Lupa, Phalis, Todd, Nash, etc., and other folks I still follow to this day. In fact, I think the only reason I signed up for Twitter, aside from it being a more convenient news feed than RSS, God, that takes me back, was because most Channel Awesome content creators had one, and it was a good way to keep tabs on them. So, if you don't like my tweets, you know who to blame. Anyway, how far involved was I in Channel Awesome? Well, the original That Guy with the Glasses site had a community blog section, to which I was a frequent contributor of written reviews and written articles about sports. I wish I still had examples of my blog, but they have been lost to history along with the community blog section, which sucks because I think some of the best articles I did are the best I've done. I was at one time also involved in a fantasy football league with Lord Cat, Rolo T, Nick F Time, Dodger of Zion, a producer from Linkara. Ugh, I can't speak tonight. I wasn't able to speak last night, and I'm not even tired this time. And Angry Joe. Also, Nash still follows me, and if we're ever at the same con, I want to buy him a drink. But for the most part, I was on the outside looking in at Channel Awesome. Sometime in 2011, a Channel Awesome producer named Lord Cat became one of the first partners on a small website called Twitch, which I think back then was Justin.tv. Although maybe it had changed to Twitch by then. I can't remember. It's been it's been a little long since I remember the dates. So I checked out his stream, which regularly featured other Channel Awesome content creators. So Channel Awesome was also what introduced me to Twitch. So wow, this guy's had a they had a huge impact on his social media presence, and that's kind of like me. In order to understand the fall of Channel Awesome, you have to understand what made it great. Uh, Gen Xers and millennials treat nostalgia very differently from generations before. We are very distrustful of corporations, particularly our corporate controlled entertainment media. Uh, okay, getting a little too much into the corporate political side of things. Just let's get to the point. And while we understand we may be fans and consume particular brands, we understand that what we consume is 99% crap. The genius of the content creators of Channel Awesome was that for the first time, someone was telling us what we were watching was crap and did so in a humorous way. Okay, all right, so he's going into like the whole deconstruction bit of it and saying like this is what kind of propelled that. Okay, yeah, I can see that. No cow is too sacred, no fan base too rabid. In fact, much entertainment could be had just by reading comments of people whose fan base they shit on this time. The It review, especially, I think was a hot point of contention because so many people love the original the mini series, not the movie, not the many movies about It. Or was there only one? No. Anywho, when they shat on the It miniseries, people were like, legitimately scared of it, and then after everything that happened, like people just came out of the woodwork just to like shit on them. Um, and now we just think of it as funny. We just think of it as like the funny like Tim Curry bits as Pennywise, and yeah. Um, for about 4 years from 2009 to 2012, Channel Awesome was kind of my life. I wrote blogs here and there, watched all my favorite content creators, and tuned into Lord Cat stream to see D&D games and played RPGs on Spoonie's chat server. Then the cracks started to show. My first clue should have been 2010 when, again, this is a like really huge recurring date. But whatever, let's keep going. My first clue should have been 2010 when a site called Busy Street opened up. The blog posted gossip related to Channel Awesome and wrote articles, often critical of it, sometimes substantiated by unnamed inside sources. I have fuzzy memories of Busy Street. I know it existed, and I knew they were posting gossip about Channel Awesome, but at the time I didn't follow it. The fact that people were starting to talk, even off the record, to out of the way websites should have been a clue that something was going wrong. But I was a fanboy and I dismissed it out of hand. Don't look up Busy Street, it too has disappeared into the ether. That's probably why my memory's so hazy on it. Oh my god, someone made a video where Zangief from 1994 reacting to the Nostalgia Critic by saying, "Quick, change the channel." That's awesome. The memes from this too are equally as amazing. Check out like some change the channel memes. You're gonna laugh out of it. Um, the first real noticeable split happened in 2012. Spoonie, who is basically Channel Awesome's biggest star and known for being a bit of an edge lord, made the following comments about another Channel Awesome creator, Jesse Otaku. Um, oh yeah, this is really weird. This was when like I don't know, the way this was posted, it was just like this is where it begins and this is where it ends. I mean, I know Twitter timelines and all that, but it's just usually nowadays when you like click the one conversation, it shows the threads below it. This is like the old layout. If things don't work out with you and Nash, I'd be happy to chain you to a pipe in my basement and love you my way. My way of loving someone is dirty and painful and ends in tears. It's not my fault. The voice of an ancient Merlinite wizard in my head makes me hurt them. Other Channel Awesome creators and their fans lashed out at Spoonie. Spoonie fans, defending a rape joke, mind you, lashed back. Spoonie himself went off on everyone else. This was basically the first time Channel Awesome's fan base was really divided. Soon after, Lorcat went on his stream and detailed how Spoonie's now infamous betrayal rant over the Bureau XCOM Declassified, then an FPS XCOM reboot, cost him an interview with Mojang creator Notch. This caused the second real break. Later in 2012, after being badgered by a chatter about Spoonie, Lorcat basically snapped and said Spoonie should kill himself on stream. Then, MacFest 2013, Lorcat was accused of raping a Channel Awesome producer while drunk. And here's the WordPress document. I'm not gonna like go off into branching stuff because we gotta get back to the fan stories pretty soon. But This is part of one of the fan stories in the document, if you're just getting here and you don't know what's happening. Because of the two incidents, Channel Awesome content creators stopped working with Lord Cat, and Lord Cat started airing out Channel Awesome's dirty laundry to the point where he became a real thorn in Channel Awesome's side. For someone who followed both, the constant backbiting was draining. Back on the video side of Channel Awesome, however, things had gone great through August and September, with the Boldly Flee marking the end of the golden age of Channel Awesome, in my opinion. And then we saw the first episode of Demo Reel. Episode of Demo Reel, not episode. And my god, was it bad. To make matters worse, at first the community complaints about Demo Reel fell on deaf ears. While Doug Walker eventually realized he fucked up and brought the Nostalgia Critic back as a fan, I noticed a lot of other familiar faces up and left the forums. Then the Patreon thing happened. Then Pop Quiz Hotshot was a bust. Then Lindsay and Todd left. Then Obscurus and Lupa and Phalus left. Then Angry Joe got too big for Channel Awesome. Then it was just a steady stream of content creators leaving. By 2014, I had gotten into the Twitch community regularly, so I basically stopped regularly watching Channel Awesome, Spoonie, and Lord Cat, though I still binge Linkar and Todd to catch up. I will say this. I admire Obscurus Lupa for being upfront about her time at Channel Awesome. She's a tough lady and is willing to put herself out there for what's right. Allison, I may never have had the opportunity to meet you in person, but I respect the hell out of you. Still, I miss those days. I miss Channel Awesome. I miss Old Spoonie, Linkara, Todd, Phalus, Lupa, Nash, Hope Within Chaos, Mars Girl, Benzai, Gookie Gox, Rolo T, Sad Panda, FBBMB, FBBMB, Rolo T, Nick F Time, The Omega Geek, Skitch Music, and the rest. And really, there's nobody out there on YouTube who can fill that void of being able to make us laugh at movies, TV shows, and video games and parts of our childhood we held sacred. So, yeah, that's my personal history of Channel Awesome, Spoonie, Lord Cat, and how I, as a fan, saw the whole situation. I'm glad for the Twitter moment. That was um that did bring a lot of things to light that maybe people didn't already know. I knew them from looking at the document and from following it, but yeah, that was good that you put your voice out there like that. Spoonie is more or less dead and buried. He hasn't posted anything new in months, and the most recent things he has posted weren't worth watching. Yeah, Spoonie's also kind of dead on social media after having his account suspended, so there's also that. Richard C is up next. We're actually almost done with this document. We might call the stream really early this time, which is good because I'd rather not go into like another 7 hour stream. I just want to keep this nice, brief, and short. I wrote for Blistered Thumbs for a brief period while at college. I was paid exposure, pretty much everyone who wrote for the site was, but at the time I was grateful to be working alongside people who I had watched and enjoyed for a long while. However, as time went on and college started to demand more and more of my time, I had to take away from writing on the site more and more, until I just stopped altogether, culminating in a brief depression following my graduation. No one ever contacted me, no one ever asked if I was okay, and once the site was going down, I was never told about it like many others who wrote for the site. And while I don't feel my writing for the site was the best stuff I had ever done, I would have liked to have been informed so I could have at least gotten copies of the stuff I had written. All that writing is now lost to time, wiped from a broken hard drive. The stress of college mixed with feeling alone, isolated, and unappreciated didn't do my dark feelings any favors when I did finally graduate. Oh, this is another kind of long one from Rob the Wonderful, who actually that name sounds familiar, and I don't know why. I feel like I know that name from somewhere. I'm no tattletale, but Jillian said on a website in a film stream that Lupe isn't a saint either, but she didn't go into much detail. Something happened to Boldly Flee, I think. Well, even still, I would think, or I would at least hope, that Lupa did acknowledge that. And in fairness, she's not a saint. I mean, none of us really are. And I'm sure she probably did do something bad for all I know, but she seems to have moved past that. And I don't think, and I really hope that Allison hasn't made any more mistakes since then. She seems to air out the dirty laundry with Channel Awesome, and she seems fairly open about it now. So, and plus, that was one incident compared to like an entire like decades worth of all of this. If after all that time, only a few of these content producers can have like a few incidents here and there, that that at least shows me that they have some integrity and some appreciation for their audience. Rob the Wonderful. I'm 90%. I'm 90% sure that's Cinematic Phantom. Just a gut feeling. I don't know for sure either. I just know his name sounded familiar. It could be Cinematic Venom. Maybe he changed his name. But I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend that I know. Doug Walker and Brad Jones are going to be at Empire State Comic Con this weekend and have a panel discussion scheduled on Saturday. I actually saw that because I saw advertisements for it in my area somewhere. I don't, but I don't know if that was because it was on another site or if it was like in another county or somewhere else. But yeah, I did hear about that. I want to go just to see how awkward it'll be. I think there will be a few people there that are going to be pissed about changing the channel. But if I'm being realistic, either they're gonna like keep them from coming in, which will probably make things worse, or there will be a few people there at most, but a lot of the actual diehard fans will just boo them out. Ugh. Sorry, I'm sorry for getting tired on stream. It's just this is also kind of mentally exhausting. I don't think anything could top the Brenofloss thing. Then again, I could be wrong. I've been proving wrong many times before. It's going to be a 3-hour panel. Oh, yikes. Ugh. Can you get Doug Walker on the next stream? Uh, I okay. Number one, no, probably because I didn't want to. But even if I could, I wouldn't want him. And number two, I don't think he'd show up to some random nobody stream. Um, just based off of everything that's happened. I can't go, by the way, to that panel in case anyone questions me saying, "Someone please go." I have other stuff to do. That's about as long as To Boldly Flee. No, To Boldly Flee was 4 hours. This is a merciful 3. Merciful in the fact that, 1/4 of that was cut, but, it's going to be really awkward, especially with Brad there. Who knows? Let's continue. So this is something I've never brought up publicly. These always start off good. Every time I see that, I'm just wondering, is it going to end up like the other controversy that we just had with Brento Floss? But I did have some brief interaction with Channel Awesome CEO Mike McCod. In the big picture, it might seem insignificant. I was debating if it was even worth bringing up, but I decided it would be best to document it. In 2008 to 2009, I was working for a friend who was looking to start up a convention. Nice. During the time, we were looking for a guest. Me and some others who were on staff suggested getting Doug since his popularity was on the rise, and he might be a good draw. My friend, who I shall refer to as the boss to protect their identity, didn't know who he was, but agreed as long as I took care of getting him. So I reached out to Rob Walker, and he said they're all for coming, but I need to talk to the site owner, Mike Mashad. At the time, I didn't know they had a boss and thought that was kind of weird, but I then reached out to him and he agreed to them coming to the convention. At this point, I should mention details are a bit fuzzy since this was almost 10 years ago and I haven't thought much of it until now. What happened was the boss needed an arrangement signed, and for weeks I heard nothing from Ashad. I I even set up a meeting with him and the boss over Skype, but he never even showed up. I then contacted Rob again and asked him what was going on, and he said something along the lines of Mashad goes out to play basketball out with his friends and sometimes isn't going to answer calls. So, when he's not playing Call of Duty, he's out playing basketball with other people. Glad to see you got your priorities straight, Mashad. Jesus. We're gonna start with this again. Are we gonna find out even more stuff about this? Okay. At this point, the con date was slowly approaching, and the boss was kind of a stickler for getting contracts finalized for the con, so I kept trying. Finally, one day out of nowhere, I get a call for Doug. Yes, the nostalgia critic himself called my personal phone to get things finalized. At the time, I was kind of speechless and even a bit starstruck, but I maintained my composure because I wanted to be professional, though it did make for a funny story later on. Anyway, we got the contract signed. I made the travel arrangements, but the way Machad gave me the run around always left a bad taste in my mouth. As for the walkers, I don't have much to say. I met them both multiple times at conventions and even had lunch with them. They seem like nice guys on the surface, but I'm well aware people can have two sides. I will, however, share one thing I found out while talking to them. I was new to reviewing at the time, and one of the issues I had at the time, and sometimes still, was figuring out what to review next. So I decided to ask Doug how he picks what he reviews next for the Nostalgia Critic. He told me that he doesn't pick what the NC review was, but rather it's chosen for him, presumably by Mashad. I was kind of shocked and confused to hear this. I don't know if this is still the case, but I think it might be a fact worth noting for this document. That would explain a bit. I see Machado as a person who likes to jump on trends purely for the money, especially with the whole Juboria bit about him wanting to, have Doug do it instead of someone else because no one is gonna watch this other person's really small YouTube channel. But yeah, that's something weird to consider. I think those are the many reasons why Channel Awesome has already lost 6,000 subscribers in just 3 days. To be honest, I actually thought they would get less people to unsubscribe because of how loyal their fan base is. That number is actually kind of surprising to me. I wish Mati will come back to Channel Awesome. Bargov, aka Mati, uh, I, I, at least that's the connection I've heard in the chat. Um, he has some other dirty laundry. Not as dirty as everyone else's, but uh, that's not saying much. Um, all right. Next up is That Canadian Guy. That guy with the glasses hit it big when I was in college. At the time, I was experimenting with blogging, so when I found out that bloggers could submit their content on That Guy with the Glasses, I got excited and began contributing a series of blogs to That Guy with the Glasses under the That Canadian Guy moniker. I enjoyed writing there. My content was top tens and other series in which I defended elements of pop culture that I felt were unjustly ignored or hated on, such as the classic vampire Twilight was such as the classic vampire. Twilight was also big at the time. I had a small but loyal following, and I remember collabing with my fellow bloggers. One collab was top 12 Bond girls, and another was top 10 female badasses. That sounds familiar. Um, that's all I'll say on that. I had hoped that eventually I would be made a featured blogger, but it never happened. They never replied to my inquiry about making blogs a bigger part of the site and doing more to recognizing bloggers. I got more recognition from my bloggers than I ever did from that guy with the glasses. And then that guy with the glasses changed Channel Awesome. They began caring less and less about blogs to the point that I also stopped caring. That guy with the glasses was a great source of entertainment for me while I was in college. I looked up to the producers, especially Doug, and it's sad to see how the mighty have fallen. I used to religiously watch The Nostalgia Critic and other producers. I told anyone I knew who had an interest in film and pop culture about them. Now Channel Awesome is a husk of its former self. Funny nostalgia critic videos are now replaced with Doug's arrogant preaching about movies he hates and unfunny skits. Preaching to the choir, my man. Now I learn that he may have allowed some pretty shitty things to happen to people I admire. Maybe it's a good thing I never got any recognition from them. Next up is oh, next up is the Shades, and that's going to be our last real person before the anonymous ones get the spotlight. Let's see what chat has to say since we're getting right to the end of this. I remember Retsu Puree going at Nostalgia Critic for his amazing Let's Play of Bart's Nightmare. Good times. Yeah. I remember that getting a lot of fairly, excuse me, fairly justified backlash for it. Don't tell me I have the hiccups. First drink of the night. Might as well be now. That has no water in it. Give me 1 second. Just gonna um just gonna take a quick water break. I'll be right back. Okay, much better. I haven't seen Bart's Nightmare. What was so bad about it? Well, it kind of put a bad light on the Let's Play community as it was starting to get more and more of a following. Keep in mind, this is when Let's Plays were kind of a new thing, and everything up to that point was like up to that point, the really big popular thing was reviews. Before Let's Plays and stuff like Minecraft really hit it. Excuse me, really hit it big on YouTube. I think Doug made a more passionate apology for his review on Bart's Nightmare than for anything his crappy CEO has done. Yeah, he actually really did. Again, a lot of the top 10 fuck ups things, like, was just pretty much him apologizing over and over, saying I'm sorry he was about all this content that he was putting out, like, that either had him fuck up in a way, like, factually in the videos, or just, like, him misrepresenting several communities and misrepresenting several people. I was about to cue the Monty Python intermission thing. Yeah, I should really have like an intermission thing for this, because just having this up is kind of a little strange, because it might uh, give people the wrong indication that the video might be over. So yeah, if you guys want that or have any suggestions for like music, let me know. But anywho, back to the live reading. Did Doug cancel the panel? Not that I'm aware. Uh, on Soft Lavender's stream earlier, they said it was canceled. Oh, I didn't see all of Soft Lavender's stream. I've seen Soft Lavender's videos and saw that she was streaming, but um, yeah, I didn't know that was happening. Do I have any stories from Channel Awesome? Not particularly. I know that I don't really have any actual experience with it, since I never really interacted with the site. I will say this. I had one experience during the Christmas reviews when they were doing like big contests and giveaways. I actually won a signed copy of Suburban Nights, signed by Doug and Rob Walker, that I'm kind of now stuck with. But I also kind of like Suburban Nights as a movie, just as a product, even though I know about some of the shit that went behind it. Now, if I wanted to boldly flee one, that would be a different story. But um, they sent me sent them the address. They messaged me on Twitter, and they gave me like no time they didn't give me any time of day when I was like, okay, so you have an estimated time of arrival, um, or anything. Like, I didn't acknowledge it like directly on Twitter, which that was probably my bad. I tried to like just message him, never got back to me. So I assumed it was gonna be in that month or so. It wasn't until like February, I think, I got the DVD. And by that point, I had forgotten that I had won the contest, and I was just waiting and sitting there, and it just, nothing ever came. So that was kind of my first telltale sign. I'm like, okay, that was strange that took so long. And Um, yeah, that was also when that was also, I think, right before, like, a few months or so before uh Medicare did the videos. Um, yeah, change the channel is too long. Just call it kaput. That's a shorter and probably catchier name. I just like change the channel because I think it's like uh it has a double meaning behind it. Like change the channel as in like change the channel as a television thing, and change the channel in regards to like change how it's been structured so far. Many people got that message except for, CEO themselves. But whatever. Same thing happened to me with Linkara with his DVD signed too. Oh, so it wasn't just me that got like kind of shafted on that. They probably didn't even realize there. I wouldn't be surprised if the DVD didn't show up at all. That would have been like when I started having a real problem with it. But I did see the behind the scenes thing, and they did say that they were signing DVDs during there, and they had like a whole storage thing load full of them actually at the studios. So thankfully, that put my mind at ease a little. But had that not been shown, and had I not been following that, which there was a high likelihood that I probably didn't, and they should have counted on me for, thinking that or doing that, then it might have been a problem. Anywho, I've wasted time long enough. Let's move on to the shades. I am one of the co-founders and the head admin of a similar site to Channel Awesome called RVT, formerly Reviewtopia. I actually remember his site. I remember it on the sidebar of that guy with. Or was it on the sidebar of that guy with the glasses? Probably was. I mean, I say like, was it on there a lot? And I kind of like hesitate, but for the most part, yeah. Then it's pretty much acknowledged in the very next panel that it was acknowledged in some way, or that this did happen. Um, on top of Channel Awesome stealing most of our top contributors, which I can't be too mad about, as many of said contributors originally wanted to work for Channel Awesome to begin with. Oh, so okay, hang on. Mashad was worried about Mars Girl getting stolen away from Channel Awesome, but yet, they have every right to steal contributors from other sites themselves. Like, and they use the word steal, so they must have like, I. That's where I know Reviewtopia. It was Rowdy C for TV Trash. That's where he used to post his videos. I was gonna say everyone going to the con should have brought tomatoes. Yeah, now I'm kind of sad it's canceled. Rashad's just gonna walk down the con floor with an old lady while an old lady rings the bell and shouts, "Shame! Shame!" I saw Lavender's stream earlier. She's another YouTuber speaking on the situation. Allegedly, it's been canceled. Okay. Well, that's kind of sad, but at the same time, I also don't blame them. Whatever. Um, there were a few times some of them still wanted to continue to work for us while still working under Channel Awesome. However, Mike made it clear that these producers were not allowed to even use our bumper at the end of their videos. See previous point. As far as Mike was concerned, if you were a part of Channel Awesome, you were only part of Channel Awesome. We actually worked with Holly to try to address the issue, and even had a text chat with her and Mike simply to address this. While we eventually did work out something to allow our bumpers, it was clear Mike was not happy with this. Two of our former producers, who also worked with Channel Awesome, had their own dreaded stories, one of which is publicly known, though the one involved will likely not share it here. The other is not as well known, while I will also not share it here. It is out of respect for that person. I will let them decide if they want to share it, and I will say it involves Rob and a level of unprofessionalism that is so unbelievable. I was flabbergasted when they shared it with me. Anonymous. While nothing happened to me personally, it was an event that I witnessed live that, while I had my issues with the site at the time, because the irreparable beginning of the end for my, or became the irreparable beginning of the end for my opinion of Channel Awesome. During the charity live stream where they raised money for the Ronald McDonald House, a fact they never once mentioned during the stream itself, which I'm pretty sure made Ronald McDonald House very happy, or RDH, sorry, I read that. I'm RDH very happy because when you're doing an event with the Walkers, it's going to inevitably become all about them and to fund Kikassia. There are several things that I will always remember about that night. Rob Walker wearing a dinosaur mask for reasons known only to him. Fuck Santa Christ, by the way. The entire crew that had assembled there, Angry Joe, Last Angry Geek, Lindsay, Linkar, Spoonie, etc., had already used Doug's ample supply of liquor at his home bar to get completely plastered and turn the whole event into an even bigger drunker train wreck as the night went on. This was basically all this charity event was. The Channel Awesome people hanging out in Doug's admittedly sweet bar, getting shit-faced. I've seen the bar in some of those videos. It's actually... yeah, it's kind of nice. It's admittedly too nice. Doing little comedy bits, maybe a live review or two, embarrassing themselves. Their site and the charity, none of them could have guessed less of a shit about. It was perversely entertaining, but the highlight of the night, and a microcosm of what was wrong with Channel Awesome, both then and now, was a part during the event where if you donated a certain amount of money, I think $200 to $300, you got to ask Spoonie, who was then at the peak of his nerd powers and was still early into his descent into madness, a question over Skype. Someone did, so the caller, who again paid for the privilege to talk to one of his internet heroes, asked a question pertaining to Final Fantasy IX. I can't recall the nature of said question. It could have been about what he thought of the game, or more likely whether or not he planned to review it, and instead of giving an answer, Spoonie told him, "Your question annoys me, and I'm going to hang up on you," which he did, on a guy who, yet again, paid not an insignificant amount of money to talk to him. This got an awkward Jerry Springer audience-like reaction from the other contributors, especially from Angry Joe, who did his usual obnoxious mugging that had been getting more obnoxious the more the sheets he added to the wind. Spoonie was never punished for being a dick biscuit, a trend that would continue as the years rolled by until the infamous rape joke tweet, and for embarrassing the Channel Awesome brand. Nor was he, to my knowledge, even reprimanded for his conduct. Perhaps there's a now ex-contributor who was in the room that night and wasn't quite hammered enough, or perhaps the mistreated Spoonie himself can recall this real story, but regardless, so began the true death of my respect for Noah Antweiler and for Channel Awesome. They managed to raise at least $60,000 for that dumpster fire of a live stream. That's the first time that I've seen Mashad being compared to Mick Mahonen, regarding acquiring talent. That's not too far off now I think about it. Okay, I don't follow wrestling, but I do know of the utter horror stories of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon. Jesus. Whatever. Spoonie being a dick biscuit? Next you'll tell me that water is wet. The sky is blue, the ground is green, and Spoonie is yet being a dick to everyone else. As always. It's just the way of the world. Alright. Next we're going on to I think it's the second anonymous one, and there's a third anonymous one. So yeah. Second one is now this. Sorry, I'm paying attention to something else. I really gotta be paying attention to the stream. Besides my gripe about the brief hiring of the Amazing Atheist under a different name, what did Amazing Atheist's other name? What was that? Like, what was it changed to? Because I remember hearing about the Amazing Atheist, but I don't ever remember seeing him on the site. Really guessing tonight for some reason. I used to be a big fan of the Walkers, even defending them to friends and family during the Lord Cat and Spoonie debacles. However, my breaking point started with Angry Joe monetizing his tribute to G Wario, which seemed wrong, but at the time, I bought the assurance that it was accidental. I had been suicidal once, and hearing that started the beginnings of doubts in the channel Awesome way. Then I heard about the autism joke from the old Ernest Saves Christmas copy. Being an Asperger's type, high functioning ASD person, I started to wonder about Channel Awesome's ADA compliance with employees past and future, as well as questioning the Walker's humor in general. Hearing a lot of just clamming up and just not good reception towards like autism sort of. Yeah, that's just seems to be a recurring trend with the main members like Doug, Robin, Mike. This wouldn't be my first issue with ableism here. Another time, I saw Phalus, whose name was spelled wrong in his parting post, now there's a tell, and his friends being ousted for standing up for themselves. When I asked what they had done on a Channel Awesome comment section, I was attacked, called a retard, cynic, and an Asperger, by various Walker cult members. I had previously amicably chatted with about Channel Awesome frivolities, whatever, demanding I take the post down despite my question being reasonable and motivated out of concern for my favorite contributors. I was scared due to one of them, who shall be referred to as Luna hereafter, so I tried to contact some authority on the site. Instead, I was given no help, no response, and being naive at the time, I went over the site admin's head and tried to contact site staff proper. Nothing. And it continued to the point where Luna had successfully obtained my personal information and had threatened to dox me if I didn't get out of town, to put it in his words. Him and the other Walkerites are still unbanned to this day. I had to erase an entire series of accounts from across the internet and rebrand myself under a new name to avoid internet stalking and harassment for questioning Saint Doug of Satan Christ and caring about my fellow humans. So, yeah, Channel Awesome has ableism related problems regarding bullying and harassment. If that wasn't enough, I later learned that I was counter complained about by my harassers, and because the Channel Awesome comments were moderated like a high school, abusers spewing identical counter statements were believed over mine by the unknown mod I did manage to get a hold of, who never asked me to tell, refute, rebut, or explain my side. So, yeah, the comments section and forum have always been a garbage fire, and I sympathize and empathize with Nerd to the Third Power's testimony, because it happened to me as well, but with toxic, uncold sheeple of the Walker TV chanters cutting me off from mod support by counterclaiming and ruining my name behind my back to other site members. Yep, that happened to me too. Glad I'm gone after I deleted my second stress-free account. I don't need a community site whose higher staff would ignore an ASD person begging for help and relief after being abused due to high school principle-based mod logic. Is it safe to say that Mike should carry a vast majority of guilt and blame for all the controversy behind Channel Awesome? A majority of it, yes. Doug and Rob didn't help matters, but Mike was the majority cause and stem of all of it. I read the fan doc before, and I think one or two of the fan claims were deleted about Linkara, and one about Brad, which I guess means those claims were disproven, thank goodness. Okay, so they are deleting ones that aren't true, so, yeah, any of these right now could be deleted at a minute's notice. Whether or not it's because they're untrue or because something about them was talked about that probably shouldn't have been, I don't know. I wouldn't assume that, because I don't assume the worst in any of these creators, especially when they're giving fans an open platform to talk about this stuff. But who knows at this point. And we have the last two anonymous ones. So let's just get through these pretty quickly. Since these are kind of like short ones. All right, whatever. I've been a fan of Channel Awesome since the very beginning, so I was able to see early signs of unprofessionalism from Mike Machad. I remember looking at the comment section of one of the NC videos back when it was that guy with the glasses, and someone was complaining about an ad or a bumper or something. Instead of Mike addressing this professionally and politely explaining the purpose of the ads, he goes on an angry rant saying something around the lines of, "I swear to God, I will have you banned if any of you comment about the ads again. I don't want to hear about it." This was around 2010, so I don't remember word for word, but I just remember him threatening to ban anyone who commented about the ads like a psychopath. I understand that it's annoying for people to complain about the ads and having to repeat yourself, but he went about the whole thing unprofessionally. Okay, they were short, but they had a lot to tell on that. They had quite a bit to tell about how Mike just gets obscenely angry at random, even at just like people speaking and commenting about it. Last anonymous one. In the Nostalgia Critic review of Jupiter Ascending, they had a skit at the beginning very awkwardly addressing Lana Wachowski being a trans woman in a way that honestly felt offensive to me, asking if she should rather be played as by a man, or asking if she should rather be played as by a man because she was a man in the past, etc. I kind of shrugged this off as the team just being kind of uneducated on the trans issue. However, in the review of Wild Wild West, a film in which there is a lot of drag, there are some very negative comments concerning the disguise of one of the male characters about he's not convincingly portraying a woman. Many people brought this up as criticism, seeing how this enforces negative stereotypes against trans women and portraying them as basically men. Doug and Rob seem to shrug off this kind of negative response because people like these jokes. Kind of baffled that contributors to the site get banned for speaking out against social injustices, but the main attraction is allowed to be ableist and transphobic, and that's okay because people think it's funny. Oh wow, I thought that ad rant was Swizzly Bubbles talking to the chat. I was so scared. No, 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 I would never do that. No, I was just reading off the thing. That's why I have this on the screen. Don't worry. Like I don't do that. I don't even have ads up on my YouTube channel. It would have, but Rob is just like Mike and Doug, has no balls to do anything. I guess because Mike owns the IP to the Nostalgia Critic. Yeah, they're also caught in the rock and the hard place situation. I've talked about this numerous times. Yeah. Let's just refresh the document, see if, because that's the end of it. Let's see if anything new has come up. Um, any more since then? Everything looks to be the same. Yep, I think that's it. So that was the fan document. That was a fairly quick stream. So what are your guys' general thoughts about it in the chat? And let me know. Do you want me? Because that stream wrapped up fairly early. We could go for like a few, like half an hour or so. I'm fine. I mean, I have to be at stuff tomorrow, but it's like it's not that like labor intensive, so we can go on for the stream for a while more. Anything happening on the Twitter that should be followed or just like um be known about? A rock and a hard place analogy is making me think of the Simpsons movie whenever Homer gets hit with the wrecking ball. Yeah, same here. I always think every time I say the rock and a hard place analogy, I'm always remembered of just that one bit from the Simpsons. I thought it was the only one. This is depressing. I'm on the verge of tears. Oh, all right. It's like again, these are fan stories, and I understand like the thing of that, but like I feel kind of bad now. Like I wanted just to have this be like a stream where we just talk about and discuss this. Like if you're on the verge of tears, just like watch something to help you cheer you up. Me too. Oh, guys. All right. Um, to pick up the mood. Uh I mean, we just went on a whole thing ranting about that guy with the glasses, and Channel Awesome and all that, but we could just try and do something to try and lighten the mood. That is, if there's like nothing else, because In fact, I'm gonna check on Twitter right now just to see if there's anything else. And then we can. I guess we could play music. Um, does Chat have any suggestions for music? Lol, how could you pick up the mood? I'm trying. I just don't want people to be in tears as they're, like watching this. I don't want people to be sad about it. I want people to know, but I don't want people to like watch if they're gonna get really sad. How come you're becoming big only because of the channel awesome stuff? When I first saw you, you had 90 subs. I honestly don't know. Maybe because it's like the really big thing that's being talked about right now. As I said before at the beginning of the stream, I guarantee you, like once all this dies down, the views will like mitigate again, and it'll probably just go back to normal. I'm just doing this. I don't want to say I'm doing it for the views because the views don't really get me anything. I can't monetize any of my videos. I'm making nothing from doing this. This is all just me being passionate about this subject and just wanting to talk about it with you guys. But like, I am gonna get like back into normal content. Like after the stream, I am gonna be working on more videos in between because uh, there's not really anything else more to talk about. We have the fans' perspective and we have the producer's perspective. There may be another stream where we just look at further at some of the newer stuff that comes to light with newer content producers. But other than that, I know that yeah, this isn't gonna last long. Hopefully, music isn't copyrighted. We don't want your stream striked. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot YouTube does that. Um, I know on Twitch they only mute the stream, but yeah, now I probably shouldn't do that. What do you think will happen in the future of Channel Awesome? That depends, honestly. I mean, right now it's on a downward slope, which in and of itself isn't good. And I mean, they they can't try to fix it. Like they can't try to fix it any more than they already have because when they have, they only made the situation even worse and only like further confirmed about it, saying they're sorry we felt this way. Like a very backhanded, just shove it under the rug type of thing to it, and people weren't buying it, and it just got picked up, and it got even worse. It got picked up by like major news sources, which was something that I never expected to happen, nor has it really ever happened um since the mass exodus. Like even that didn't get like mainstream attention. But because Channel Awesome has grown so big and because enough people spoke up about that and because people love good drama, people like a good fight. I don't. But because like most people rather would hear about drama than of good news, yeah, of course it was going to pick up traction. It just had all the pieces together and they didn't help it at all. Oh, that apology was bullshit. Yeah, it was. Forgiveness is earned. Yeah, so many of the content producers that are there now are even still saying that. Channel Awesome will still have their defenders, but most will wash their hands of them and seek out indie reviewers. Even the ones who are defending them, like Brad Jones and like Linkara was just defending staying on the site because of that, but even he left. Like even Tony Goldmark, who even though he had like a thing pop up in this document, that was just one thing, to my knowledge. He was saying like I would defend these, but now I can't because now this defense has to be earned. You need to give me a reason to stay with you guys because me being here is associating you like this rubs off on all your other content creators. This makes us look bad because we're looked at as guilty of association with you, and we all have our like own bad stuff, and that's only going to be exacerbated by the situation. And I've burned so many bridges that I don't want to leave. I really, really don't. But you're heavily making me consider this. I understand defending staying on the site because you got to pay rent. Yeah, that too. Except in the case of like Angry Joe, where he already has like a huge thing on YouTube. He doesn't need like to be on Channel Awesome at all. He could easily just leave at any point. I'm talking about like those people that get like millions upon millions of views or are already well known outside of their site. Like I don't think Brad needed them anymore. Mars Girl I feel bad for because her channel is relatively small. She only has 10,000 subscribers and she had like little to no publicity, no one, like no way to get everyone back there. And whenever she tried, she didn't do that well. When they moved over from Blip, and she regrets that. Um, but even she like had to leave after 9 years because she just couldn't take what was happening on the site anymore. Sometimes your own like personal integrity and reputation is more important than just paying rent, which is sad that like it's sad because they shouldn't have to make that decision, but it just happened. Some of them didn't even know any of this was going on, and now because of that, they can't even be associated with the site anymore. The movement seems interesting, but I still don't comprehend the end goal. Do people just want Mike Machad, I don't know how to spell his name, to step down as CEO? Um, okay, sort of. Change the channel has many other things. Many people are using it as a way to, change the channel, watch other people, watch the other content creators, and stop going to Channel Awesome. If they're like more pessimistic on that stance. What I want as an optimist and what many of like the content contributors want is to, even though it might be too late, like address the problems with the site. Don't like force a non-apology on people and expect people to buy it, even when content contributors warn about that. Don't make it so that the current producers have to go through all of the same shit that the others did 10 years ago. And above all, like fix what's happening with Mashad because he's like the big standout like guy that's causing all of this. I mean, Doug and Rob were complacent and they have their own issues, but Mashad is the biggest culprit in it. He can't be fired because he's the CEO, but something needs to change internally with that because he was and still is as of now causing problems for the site. And now we have allegations of other content contributors on the site um like having like being known as pedophiles in the community and yet they did nothing about that. That's even worse. That's not pinned on Doug or Rob, by the way, even though some of them like were forced into the business management side of the site. That's more really on Mashad for not doing background checks and like not listening. A class action lawsuit. Okay, everyone's saying they need to take a lawsuit, but here's the problem with that. Not a lot of them really have any extra money to spend, and they don't want to take away from like actual content to give out to their fans, to help support them because right now they're in a very tumultuous time. I think a lawsuit would be like the last thing on everyone's mind. It would probably help, but even still, like, because they have no board of directors, they have no shareholders, they have none of that. Mashad's like majority stakeholder, if not the guy that owns the company, along with like maybe a few other random people that also help found it. And Doug and Rob are like the faces of it. Whereas he also has like control over the entirety of the Nostalgia Critic IP. That's some Dan Schneider shit right there. Oof. I hope the allegations aren't true because of the poor victims, but it seems likely that at least a few predators and victims slipped through the cracks. At this point, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, with everything else, I, I just don't see it like happening. Is it okay to be one of those people who want to save Channel Awesome from further damage to their reputation? No, you're not. You're not in the wrong for thinking that. In fact, I applaud you for like trying to make steps to get it better. The problem is that Mashad and whoever's in charge probably isn't going to listen to us. In fact, I know they aren't listening to us because they're currently blocking people who are using this. Even if they want to help out, it doesn't matter. They will still see you as like lesser than you or block you or do anything because they don't care. Or at least he doesn't care. and they still don't care, and the non-apology should be clued into on that. I'm also one of those people who wants to see it actually change for the better, because I don't want to see, Channel Awesome die. I don't want to see Nostalgia Critic or any of the people who are currently on there like die and go off. I don't want that, but they're not helping anything. They're making it worse, and it's going to end up like that. I honestly always thought Doug was in charge of his IP. Medicre's video was the first time I had ever heard of Mike. He's like a shadow government using the Walker brothers as Illuminati puppets. Well, I wouldn't say that. It's more so Doug and Rob are the face and the actual moneymakers for it. But yeah, Machado's the whole IP. Um, Without him, like, cause he could just like fire Doug and Rob, and he could try and make the Nostalgia Critic work on his own. Except he can't, because the Nostalgia Critic is literally like a person. um like it's Doug himself as the Nostalgia Critic. It's like having AVGN with without James Rolfe, or like having the, who was it, I'm blanking on his name right now. He was in like really early YouTube. He had like the comic books on his wall. It was like having that show that he did without all of that. It can work, but it's not going to sustain itself for long. I wish I could remember that guy's name now. He was like a really early YouTube person. He did like vlogs of like popular trendy YouTube vids. It wasn't the irate gamer. That was not it. Ray William Johnson. That's it. Thank you. I should have looked. I know Quinta Reviews did a video on it, but I didn't look it up for some reason. That was what it is. It was like trying to continue what Ray William Johnson did even after he left, which they tried to do with like a bunch of other hosts. I mean, it worked for a time, but you know, you can only sustain that for so long. You can't like keep that going. It's not going to work. Or Jew Warrior without Justin Carmichael, God rest his soul. Well, they did do a tribute of his character, the Famicom writer, and they did portray like Jew Wario like walking off metaphorically into the sunset or whatever he did as like a ghost or a person. And they did portray. They got a good lookalike for like the behind of him, but they didn't show any facial shots, for obvious reasons of him, just walking off, and they put his character to rest, and it was kind of, I heard it was therapeutic for them in a way. So I'm happy that tribute got made. So they can do it if they're tactful about it, but in like certain situations where they're trying to take up a person's reviewing style as the person, yeah, it won't work. If there are new entries in the documents, will you do another live reading? That's the plan, anyways, because Mars Girl did say by the time everything is all said and done, the document will be up to 80 pages. I'm going to do my regular content in between just so people, don't get bored, and just because, I'm kind of just sick of continuously talking about the Channel Awesome drama. I mean, it gets me views and it gets me closer to monetization, but that's not why I do this. I did this because I thought like people wanted to hear about it. People wanted to have, I wanted to share the info about there. People liked me talking about it. People seemed to like my personality a bit. I don't know why, because I'm like a cringy piece of shit. But thank you all for sticking around and for subscribing for that. Even if you're just here for the change the channel ones. But I just want to go back to making old vids at some point. Just like of me just, not really caring about what not caring in the sense that of what I upload, in that it's more so what I wanted to do, not like really caring about the views and monetization aspect and all of that. I don't want to get caught up in any more drama. If it's something huge like maybe I'll say a piece on the John K thing, but the drama of this week has just been so bad that it might take a bit to like collect my thoughts fully on it. The live streams have been really fun, actually. Don't get me wrong. Like, these last two live streams, these are my first live streams I've ever done, and you guys have made this experience all the more great. You guys have been really civil. You guys have been amazing, and I can't thank you enough for it. But, I do want to make, like, a few shit posts here and there and just, talk about other subjects. Like, I want to do cartoon reviews. I want to do a podcast with someone from a Discord server. and just do stuff like that. But I will come back to like the change the channel stuff. The live reading is still going to happen. But yeah. Yeah, that's true. I can't believe I forgot about the Famicom Writer tribute special. Yeah, exactly. Hang on. The website is called all right. Did you notice Mashad wasn't credited in the last two Nostalgia Critic videos? I don't think Mashad was ever credited in any of the Nostalgia Critic videos, was he? If he is, link me like an example of when he was. If not, then that's kind of suspect, but I don't think he would have stepped down. Well, no, he couldn't have stepped down because the last Nostalgia Critic video happened 2 weeks ago, and I assume either Mike or Greg made that announcement on there because I don't think that was the Walkers because they don't own the Twitter account and they have been busy making their own videos because they do the video week schedule. And they're very kind of like strict about their work ethic and how they get it done. Like they have a whole process of creating a video over a week. They always have, actually. If you watch the behind the scenes videos of the Nostalgia Critic. I'm wondering if Diamanda Hagen will leave or try to stick it out. Diamanda Hagen, I think, already left. That was a while ago. Ray William Johnson. Yep. Ray William Johnson was the person I was originally thinking of. Let's see. The website is called That Guy with the Glasses, not That Bald Guy with Social Anxiety. I wonder why Doug doesn't just threaten to cancel the show unless Mike steps down. That seems like an obvious option. Well, because they need the money and they tried doing something different with Demo Reel probably because they wanted to do something different, but also maybe because Mike owns it, but that did like terribly, so now they just have to stick with what they know and they're kind of dependent on him because if they try any other creative pursuits, it's just gonna fall flat in its face. Um, Also, yeah, what is up with Doug being bald now? I know he had a receding hairline, but he at least made that look like work for him. And I know he shaved his head for the Norm of the North review, but I'm so not used to that look. I'm especially not used to the Nostalgia Critic without sideburns. That's really throwing me off. That's a little personal thing. That's just completely just a nitpick tangent right there. But yeah, last night was Blockbuster Buster means. Now we're remembering Ray William Johnson. Yep, that's. Is this just gonna be a thing with these streams from now on, where we just end the night with saying a random YouTuber is a god, and we like unknowingly like plug their old content? Because I'd love for that. Thoughts on Malcolm's tweet about this? I already talked about the tweet earlier, but I can't give my full thoughts on it now because Malcolm has yet to actually, revise his tweet, at least to my knowledge. I'm on Twitter right now. I should actually look it up. My God, I got 2 new followers. Thank you, whoever followed. Sam Miller replied, I've been enjoying Swizzly Bubble's videos on it too. Nathan Shemp. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. You didn't need to say that, but thank you. I almost got. I'm just reading Nathan Shemp's tweet. I almost got suckered into watching a change the channel analysis video, which basically became a "These feminists are tearing our favorite site apart" screed 2 minutes in. The username was a big clue. Be careful which videos about the channel awesome situation you do find out there. Okay, so it was just offering up an alternative. Yeah, I could see like that falling terribly. Yeah, don't if just be careful which videos you watch because some of them are, not really that well informative. SpongeBob movie reference, anyone? Ball, my eyes! My eyes! I love that movie. I should watch it again. I have not seen the SpongeBob movie in years. And I used to watch that religiously when I was a kid. That's exactly how streams should end. You know what? Yeah, let's just make that a thing. Whenever streams end, we just like talk about how a random YouTuber is the goddess of the stream and saved us from everything. So newer people that come in just have no clue what's going on. With his head shaved, Doug sort of looks like a penis, which is sort of fitting because he's surrounded by other dickheads in management. That you don't know how true that is, especially with what we've had to read so far. Um, Actually, let me go to Allison's thing on that. She's been tweeting a lot about it really recently. For journalism inquiries, okay. Extended a thank you to anyone who's done articles, videos, or simply spread the word of mouth about the change the channel situation. Genuinely, thank you. It feels immensely gratifying to be heard. Yeah. So this is the tweet I was talking about earlier. So yeah, if you feel like you want to make change the channel videos, just discussing your own thoughts on about it, go ahead. I highly suggest you do it if you have like something you want to say, even if it feels like you're repeating yourself. Just let your voice be heard. That's how I did it with mine, and I did not expect it to get the reception it did. My leg, my leg. Uh, Doug released the Woody Woodpecker video. Yeah, I'm really hesitant on when I already unsubscribed from the channel, but I just want to look at that because I've heard that a lot of the jokes are recycled, repeated, also from other people's. And Rebel Taxi also did like a huge burn on on Doug's review by just saying like, um, Nostalgia Critic did release a video here, but um, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna bring up the tweet that he did. Where is it? Um, Let me check. Just to give you guys something to look at. Here it is. Nostalgia Critics may have also made a video on Woody Woodpecker, but at least mine is 100% cruelty-free. Love Rebel Taxi, man. Also, yeah, just a heads up, if anyone who hasn't seen Rebel Taxi's last video, he's taking a break for a while. He's on a hiatus because he's been doing these videos nonstop for like 4 years now, and he kind of deserves it, especially with like medical issues and that. So, uh, Pan, if you're watching this, I really doubt you are. I've seen weirder people show up on the streams, like Mars Girl and Chaos and Dr. Gonzo, aka Nerd of the Third Power. But if by some crazy instance you're watching this or following the hashtag, I hope you feel better. I still remember when Naros Q went after Rebel Taxi. Also good times. Yeah, and then didn't he guest star on the Pizza Party podcast after a while? And it turns out he was just actually a really chill dude. He didn't really get involved with drama or anything. He was just talked about just regular stuff on the podcast, and he actually turned out to be all right. Yeah, Pan seemed to be getting sick on his podcast recently. Hope the guy's doing okay. Yeah, actually, let me bring it up because it was a long inundated thing on his last video. What am I doing? I could just search up Rebel Taxi on here. Rebel Taxi YouTube. Yeah, sorry if the desktop audio is also really loud. I haven't changed that. I'm just gonna pause it. Yeah, right here, because right here. Oh hey, look, there's my video. Oh, and there's the document reading from that Frederick was doing that someone mentioned earlier. All right, let's see. I'll be going on. This is basically just what it says. He's been doing a video every 2 weeks of since 2014. I think it was during the Etta and Eddie review that he actually made the announcement that he was making a video every 2 weeks, which is the video and the podcast. And he said he wish he could have talked about Planet Panic in this. Which yeah, it's a new Nickelodeon pilot that I highly recommend any of you check out. It guest stars. I think it guest stars Aaron Hansen as one of the characters. Um, and yeah, he was only able to do three before stuff with heart palpitations. Um, Heart palpitations stuff, all that happened. No, I'm not gonna click on my stream. I don't want infinite echo for everyone. That's just gonna make for horrible audio. I might check out Down the Rabbit Holes live stream live though. We went from Channel Awesome to Rebel Taxi. Yeah, we sort of made a weird transition there from the burn on Doug's Woody Woodpecker video to just talking about him. We can go back here. Also, here's Pie Guy Rules video that he also made that I talked about earlier too. It's Channel Awesome is Two Faced. I didn't remember the name, but I saw that he uploaded it. Pilot with a Game Grump. Where do I watch? Nickelodeon's YouTube channel. It's the Planet Panic video. And they just do random RP pies. Also, another one which I highly recommend that doesn't really have a YouTube star in it, but is just really, really well done. If you followed the comic, is the Harpy pilot. Harpy, as in HARPYGGEE. Um, it's so good. It's so well animated. The characters are really funny, and I've never read the comic before. And that pilot really made me want to read the comic, and I heard really good things about it. The art in the comic's beautiful, by the way. It's like you said, going from a fan to this mess is just hard. It really is. And I can understand a lot of people getting like upset about this, and they're just like looking at what's happened and just wondering like how it went so wrong. I don't want to give Nick views lately for obvious reasons, but I want to check this out now. Well, if it makes you feel any better about the allegations going on at Nick, is that they've fired all the people in their office. The John K thing. Well, okay, Nickelodeon Animation Studios then should be the YouTube channel you check out, because Nickelodeon's management side absolutely abysmal and doesn't listen to the animation studio in the slightest. That's why it took them so long to take down the John K picture, even though there were sticky notes always posted saying, take down this thing, take this down, take this down, take this down. And only then did management come and like take the picture off the wall. But the actual animation studio, and I cannot stress this enough, even C.H. Greenblatt, the guy who worked on Harvey Beaks and had many a problem with how they ran the channel, even said the animation studio, bar none, is probably one of the nicest and most free places I've ever had to work. Imagine if Rebel Taxi was hired by Cartoon Network to help the network get better. I think Rebel Taxi's, he's really wanted to work in, like, animation and that, but recently in these videos, he keeps saying he, like, has a hard time, he just has a hard time, getting into the animation thing lately because no one really, wants to hire him for his art, which, that gets me really upset because his art is really good. It's that like really thick outlined angular style, and it looks so, I can understand it may be off-putting for some, but I just find that really visually appealing. And if anything, I'd want him to work as like an like a small artist on one of like the larger shows, like just working with the crew on any of them. Like literally any studio. It could be Nick or Cartoon Network, Disney, it doesn't matter. Cartoon Network, it just fits more of that. The Cartoon Network I think of fits more of that style, even though that's not their branding these days. But that's a whole nother tangent. I could just make a whole live stream just talking about grievances and my own nostalgic memories of cartoons if I really wanted to. Okay, that's good, and that is reassuring, and it actually makes sense because I remember Dan making fun of the animation department, so that must have been foreshadowing for good versus evil on Nick. I did not know that Dan badmouthed the animation department, which is ironic considering he helped work on the Harvey Danger show where he was a little kid, which both of those shows got canned. Well, they're canceled. They're airing until like their final. They're airing like their seasons that they're already on now because they're under contract. They kind of have to. And then they're just getting completely canceled. I'll be honest, I'd make shows for Adult Swim, mainly because more experimental. Yeah, I'm at college for art right now. I'm planning to go into the animation industry at some point, try and break out into there. I know that might seem like a stretch, considering like my art on DeviantArt is just absolutely fucking abysmal. My earlier art, don't look at it, even though it was made like a year ago. I hate it. That was when I tried to use my Wacom tablet for the first time, just didn't give a shit. That's not representative of my actual art. Like, not to brag. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it. I won't say it live on stream about college things. But long story short, um, my art did get recognized just for like being actual art. Like the point is, I want to go work in the animation industry. I don't know if I have a shot because animation and the art world is just completely like competitive. It's there's a lot more that goes into it than most people think. Um, but if I'd want to work for one studio, the one studio that I want to work for right now, despite like things that I've heard buzzing around about it, but other than that, there doesn't seem to really anything bad for it, is Adult Swim. Siri, you why did you open up on my phone and record and put like all this stuff past DeviantArt? Oh yeah, he badmouthed the animation studio a lot. He said if he ever wanted to be lazy, he'd make a cartoon and basically acted like he's Shaq Gold, while the animators did nothing worth anything. Again, really ironic. I want to be a children's book illustrator myself, but I want to try learning animation. Well, art that's the good thing about art is that art can encompass like many different fields. Like I'm going for graphic design, but like so many others right now that have also just gotten like a bachelor's in fine arts and graphic and media design. Um like they've gone on to create like a lot of stuff. Well, I don't they went for a bachelor's in fine arts and they got into some really cool places. They weren't even hired at places like Cal Arts. Like off the top of my head, Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar was from the School of Visual Arts, not Cal Arts. Um, this has just become like the animation podcast, hasn't it? And the other one is Ian Jones Cordy, who did OKKO Let's Be Heroes. Which, since we're talking about Rebel Taxi, fun fact: Jim, who's on the Pizza Party podcast, is actually friends with Ian because he and Ian did a show called Knock Force way back when, which was just little animated skits based off of just them having like drunken conversations. Which I think are still up, and Jim's actually just been uploading music from that show. And yeah, Ian and Jim are actually still friends. They did still guest star on a recent podcast. I'm reacting to Kick Assia for my girlfriend. By react, I mean blind riff, and no, I'm not seeing it on Channel Awesome. Well, good for you. Like, I'm glad you're having at least a little bit of fun, just like riffing on like that, like because even though it was like their first movie or whatever, it's still kind of bad. But Adult Swim hasn't renewed Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty's in just sort of a position. I don't think it's gonna get canceled. It's not. That would be the worst decision they could ever make. Uh, just like that would just be it's dumb. It's their most profitable show on the network. What I think is happening is that because the Harmon allegations against him from the other person on Twitter who was very vocal about it, they already talked about that, discussed it, and are actually over that. Dan Harmon himself is just kind of a floaty guy, I might say, just to put it lightly. But because they want more money, because obviously it's an expensive to make show, and it's also one of the biggest shows on the network. Rick and Morty kind of like pushed people into an Adult Swim into the mainstream. Yeah. Was actually a huge fan of his shows up to Victorious, so this was like a crushing revelation, but now I just want him to suffer from his behavior. Yeah, well, again, we don't know if those allegations are true. I mean, judging by stuff that's come out, I would highly suspect it to be, especially like with the weird stuff that happened in between, like the Jeanette McCurdy vines that happened after Sam and Cat and iCarly was done for. Those are really weird. I really need to listen to the Pizza Party podcast more. Yeah, it's an entertaining podcast. I actually back in high school, I used to listen to it a lot. I haven't listened to it for a while now, but I really want to. Like specifically the ones with Jim. I actually really like those podcasts. But I know Jim's also a busy dude. He's got his own channel. etc., etc. Anywho, I actually said that we were going to watch a bit of this as it happened. Um, let's try and do that. Maybe turn the volume down. Just yeah, I'll just let you guys listen to this. Oh, slow mode is on. Whoops. Oh, they're on the sexual cupcake bit. He's doing the same bit I did. Oh, Google, go away. Hang on, I hear some people can't hear it. Give me a sec. Yeah, his chat's got like 11,000 people in it. It's going crazy. I don't blame him for trying to lighten up the mood. It's gonna get worse from here. Trust me, when he gets to the Juwario stuff, it's gonna get worse. That's the thing, his chat is on slow mode right now. John Farber. Oh, I was on the pop quiz hotshot. That was, oh yeah, that was you. But pilot on the channel, awesome thing. Despite its failure, hearing that things have been so bad there hurts my heart. Doug, Rob, and Brad were nothing but kind to me. Yeah, they. Hey, hang on. Let me just turn off any sound, even if it's not coming through. Um, yeah, I hope they do too. From what I've heard, and especially from like Tony, they have improved. Doug and Rob have. Mashad is not. Mike has definitely not. Whatever. It's a mess. But I'm glad you at least had I at least hope you had fun on the game shows. But yeah, if let's continue this. I'm just like I'm just off on here and just want to see his reactions to this. Maybe you guys did too. I probably will end this because I don't want to hog attention away from his stream. But I just I want to see this in like all its glory because yeah, this is happening. They're number one on trending. Oh shit. Can anyone in my chat like look over there and confirm and see if they actually are in trending? Because if they are, that just gave them like a huge boost in people learning about this. You can. Like I'm proof of that too. Did have a time though, more so before and after filming. Well, that's good. That's good to hear. All Doug Walker has to do is say sorry. He really does. At least Doug does. Mike has more to do than just apologize. I don't see them in trending. They are not trending, at least right now. Okay, fair enough. Hang on. Let me just check something real quick. Oh, crap. No audio's playing. damn it. Hang on. Number one on live, not in trending. Okay. Basically, what he was saying was like he works on a budget of zero. You can make it work. He tried to lighten the mood a bit. Um, blah blah blah. It's yeah, yeah. You can hear me. You can't, but I want you to kind of just hear for this, like in context, the the stream. All right. Let me. Nope, I don't want another screen thing. Audio output capture. No, wait. Okay, give me a second while I figure this out. I'm just gonna mute myself. Give me a second. This is something else. Second stream jitters. Okay, someone who's well versed in OBS can you help me out a bit? How do you capture the desktop audio? I'm sorry, I shouldn't like be asking chat this, but you know, I might look this up because I don't want to, you know, I just want to get this done. I'm so sorry about this. This is really unprofessional. All right, I think I see the problem. All right, you know what? I think I'm just gonna end the stream here because I have been streaming for a bit now. Um, and yeah, just I'm just probably gonna just be watching Fred's stream, and I suggest you do too. You don't need to rate him or anything. Just go on the stream, just watch if you're curious. He's doing more of the document reading, and he's more concise than I am with it. Because obviously he does down the rabbit hole. He's known to be more concise. So thank you all so much for watching and coming out. I'll do another live stream probably soon for, you know, the documents, or the further document reading once more stuff pops up. But that's all. Okay then, see you soon. Where can I find my channel? Underneath the stream there should be a link there. If you're talking about my channel, then just hit the little link with my name on it. And then you'll see the rest of the videos that I've worked on. But if you're talking about his, then just go to just look up Frederick, what's his name? Frederick Knudsen, FredrickKNUDSEN. And go over to his live stream, just hang out. And that's pretty much it. So, that out of the way. I don't know when the next time a live stream be. Probably whenever the document gets updated fully to the 80 pages, so we just go through the next 20 pages that show up. That should be fun. But until then, take care, everyone. Go to his stream. That's all I can say. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you all wherever I play next. Bye. See you, everyone.